All right, y'all. Start liking the live, start sharing it. Y'all do see the topic of discussion. Y'all do see the topic of discussion. If you would like to join me, if you think you can give me a good reason to believe in a God, go ahead and come on up and we could talk about it. Go ahead and come up. We can talk about. I'm trying out a new way to do these lives. I hope y'all like it. I hope it goes well. And again, I appreciate everybody for being up here. I appreciate all the support. All right. If you over on my YouTube right now, I appreciate you being there. I'm about to post a link on the YouTubes. I'm about to post a link on all the YouTubes so you can join if you would like to. They also are going to be in the description. So there's a link in the description right now in all the YouTubes and in my Facebook comment, so you'll be able to join. You'll be able to join up. All right, y'all. Hopefully this goes well. Because uh, for some reason, YouTube on desktop it fails to send out the FYP. So if y'all can get the likes up there for me, please. Y'all go ahead and get the likes up there for me, and we can go ahead and get some people in here. If y'all can get the likes up there, then we could go ahead and get some people in here, and we can go ahead and have a good discussion, a good debate. All right, Cool Bricks over on my YouTube. Go ahead and hit the join button. Uh, that should be one of the first comments that you see. Go ahead and hit that. Go ahead and hit that little button, and then you should be able to join me. If you can hear me over on TikTok, go ahead and press 1. Nitro, go ahead and request as well. Go ahead and request as well, and we can have a discussion. And Cool Bricks over on my YouTube, go ahead and hit that StreamYard button and come on up, and we can go ahead and talk. Because you said that you can give me a good reason, and you will. So go ahead and hit that, and then we can go ahead and talk. All right. It says your devices are not connected. Not sure why that is. Your devices are not connected. But Nitro, go ahead and join me, Nitro. All right, Bad Granny, go ahead and join me as well. Nitro, I invited you up because I don't typically like talking to the comments. No, I do not believe in a God, Nitro. So Nitro, I went ahead and sent you an invite. So go ahead and join me, please. Go and join me on the stage. If anyone is trying to join on the YouTube, it says that your microphone is not connected. So I can't bring you on the stage if you don't connect your microphone. So go ahead and connect that for me, please, and then I can go ahead and bring you on the stage and we can start having a discussion. You have too many followers to come up. What does that mean? You can come up and talk to me, and then we could go ahead and talk about it. I used to like WCW Nitro. I watched WCW Nitro before I watched the WWF. As a matter of fact, I think the first WCW program I saw is with a guy named Glacier, and I think that's the first time I saw Sting as well. That's the first time I ever saw professional wrestling, and I was obsessed with it for a few years until probably a little after high school. Then I stopped watching wrestling because I got too busy. All right, I have Real Safe. Is that your name? All right, Real Safe. How's it going? Are you over 18 and do you believe in some sort of God? Okay, cool. Can you give me a good reason to also believe in that God? So look at the trees. Which God? Which one? Which one? So Oludumare? Yeah, Olodumare is the creator of the universe. My Yoruba ancestors. My Yoruba ancestors from Western Africa, from Western Nigeria, they say they worship Dumare. So that's the God, right? The Almighty One. Is that correct? Yeah, Olodumare. So you should convert to West African Yoruba religion, right? All right, cool. So we have a new convert of West African Yoruba religion right here in the comments. Yeah, so safe. I'm gonna take you. Hold on, Kiki. So safe. I'm gonna take you through this. All right. You said that I should believe in God because of existence, and I asked you which God, and you said the Almighty Creator. What you need to know is that there's always any every culture out there has a supreme being, has a supreme creator. So when I asked you which one, I'm asking you for a specific one. If you don't believe in a specific one, that's fine. But you're just saying that there is no specific god out, no specific god from any type of religion out there. All right, so which one, which one? There's every single culture has a god. Which one are you talking about? Okay, which one is it? If no one knows his name, how do you know that it exists? Because of existence? Yeah, existence doesn't. I can say existence, therefore Olodumare. I can say the same thing, right? I can say existence, therefore Olodumare. Correct? Okay, so Olodumare is the real God. Yeah, I know. People know him. I know him. Olodumare. Hold on for us. Give me a second. All right. So say safe. Let me just make this simple. The God that you believe in, is it the God of the Bible or the Quran? How do you know that? How do you know that? How do you know that? Okay, that hold on. That doesn't answer my question. That doesn't answer my question. Hold on. Safe. Hold on, slow down. Because I don't think you realize that you're not actually answering my question. When I asked you, how do you know that no one knows God's name, and how do you know there's a creator in the first place? You just can't say because existence. How do you know that existence came from that creator? How do you know that? How do you know that? What if existence is an emergent property? Do you know what emergent property is? Not to be insulting, just asking. No, emergence comes about when when you have several different elements of something and they create something new. For example, fire. If I asked you where does fire come from, you're probably going to tell me like a heat source, combustion, stuff like that, right? But that doesn't tell me where fire actually comes from. Fire is a mix of certain elements that come together to make something new, just like food, right? So the universe could be the exact same thing. It just could be a mix of elements that we probably don't understand, some physics that we probably don't understand, and boom, we have the universe. It could be that. What makes you think that it was deliberate, like someone or an agent or a being set out to create it? How do you know that part? That's what I'm asking. No, I have no idea what you're talking about. Okay, so if you're Haitian, then that means you should be following Shango, Urzuli, and Ogun, right? Why are those false prophets, and they're the ones who got us out of slavery? Yeah, yeah, no, those are historical figures. Those are real people. What I'm asking about is that so when you know how Haiti got our freedom, right? We went through the entire revolution, exactly. But what inspired the Haitian Revolution was a voodoo ceremony, exactly. So wouldn't they be the true prophets, and since they're the ones that got us out of freedom, and not the one that you're talking about? Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, what I'm asking you is that you're being very very vague on what this God is, or who this God is. You're just saying that it exists in Christianity, Islam, Hinduism. All of them are just false prophets. And I'm asking you, how do you know that? How did you come apart with this knowledge? And then you told me that Hollywood has gay people there. That doesn't mean anything. How do you know that's someone that wants to destroy the creation? No, they're not. No, they're not. So there are people who, yeah, there are people who do surgeries on their bottom part in order to gain the other part. So what? No, it's not. No, it's not. No, no, it's not. Yeah. So yeah. So yeah. So yeah. Dwayne Wade has a trans daughter. So what? No, no, because that's not how being trans works. You're either trans or you're not. You're either gay or you're not. Yeah, they're trans. They don't choose that. They don't choose it, and there's no issue with it. How do you know that? So, 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 so. No, it's not. Yeah, yeah. Hold on, Kiki. I'm gonna give you I'm gonna give you a chance in a second. I just gotta talk to Safe first, and then we'll be back. All right. So, Safe. The way that being trans or being gay works is that it's something that's within you. It's inherent. Like it's neurochemical. It's biological. It's something that happens inside of you, right? If people were able to choose to be gay or choose to be trans, you can choose it right now. How come you don't choose it? I understand that it's weird and it sounds strange. I get that it sounds strange, but human biology is very very complex. You get that, right? All right, listen to what I'm saying. Human biology is complex, right or wrong? Right. So that means human psychology will also be complex, right or wrong? Okay, so if it's complex, if human psychology is complex and human biology is complex, then that would mean being gay or trans is a lot more complicated than what you're making it. Yeah, yeah, it's more complicated than what you're making it. It's not just, they're trying to destroy creation, and therefore that's why they chose to be trans. That's silly. Like think about the logic of what you just said here. People are trans, therefore they're trying to destroy humanity. That actually makes sense to you? It doesn't. Yeah, the moment you thought about it for 5 seconds, it doesn't. It doesn't make sense that they would do that, right? Because they're not choosing to be gay, and even if they did choose it, was what why wouldn't that just be a personal choice instead of them trying to destroy the creation or whatever? Why is it not a personal choice? So the population has been going down for decades now. It's not because of trans people. It's not because of trans people. It's not because of the gay agenda. No. Yes. It's completely fine. Yep, it's fine. Yeah, yeah, it's fine. Let me ask you a question. What does it actually do? Two men are gay. Two men are gay? What does that do? What does it do? What does it actually do? What terrible things? What exactly? Don't just tell me, bro. What does it actually do? Tell me what it actually do. Don't just tell me it brings terrible things, because at this point it sounds like you don't know what you're talking about. Not to be insulting, but what does it actually do? There are gay people in my apartment complex right now. How are they harming? How do they harm me and my wife? What happens to me and my wife because they're gay? What happens? What I'm trying to say is that this does nothing. Them being gay over there and me and my wife being in my apartment right here, what happens? Nothing, right? I want you to answer my question. They live in an apartment over there and they're gay. Me and my wife live in this apartment over here. What actually happens because they're gay? What happens to me? It's not a fucked up universe. They have a loving partnership. What's wrong with that? I understand that they're gay. What I'm asking you is, what does it actually do? What is the problem? What happens to me? Why? So why don't you? Okay, you don't like seeing that. So what? What is the reason why you don't like seeing it? Do you find it weird? Because you find it weird. Yeah, you were raised in a heteronormative way. I understand that you're raised in a heteronormative way. So was I. The question then becomes, just because I was raised like that and just because you were raised like that, what is the problem with them? Because I'm me and they're them, right? You're you and they're them. How do they harm you? What are they doing to you exactly, besides making you feel icky? They're not doing anything to you. Exactly. That's what I want you to. That's what I wanted you to work through. Right? They're not actually doing anything to you. So when I say being gay is fine, that's exactly what I mean. Nothing happens to me. Nothing happens to me. Nothing happens to you. You just feel weird about it because you're just raised to see man and women together, which is fine. You can still do that, but that doesn't mean that something's wrong with them, right? Yeah, exactly. All right, bro. We down to the wire, and I do appreciate you being up. I'm gonna go ahead and move on to another guest. Go ahead and think about these things a little bit more, and come on back and we can talk more about it. All right, appreciate you. Not a problem, though. Respect. All right, y'all. Keep liking the live and keep sharing it. I do appreciate everybody being up here. We're gonna move on to William next, and then we're gonna have Burrito. For the person who is on my YouTube live, for the person who's on my YouTube live, Trevor, I cannot add you up because you did not have your mic connected. Your microphone is not connected, so I can't add you up. All right, connect your microphone, then I can add you. Brian, you're gonna be next. Okay, you're next in the queue. Right now on my TikTok queue, I have William and I have Burrito. and then Brian is going to be you. All right. So stay in the queue for me. We're going to go ahead and have a good conversation. All right, William. I appreciate you being up here, and I appreciate you being on my live. Are you over 18? And do you disagree? I mean, are you over 18 and do you believe in some sort of God? All right, cool. Give me 1 second. Burrito, are you over 18 and do you believe in some sort of God? All right, cool. Go. Cool. Go ahead and stay on mute for me for a second. I'm going to talk to William first. All right, William, can you give me a good reason to also believe in this God? Because I don't see any evidence that one exists. Just get to the end. I've always not liked syllogisms. Yeah, this is why I don't like syllogism, because I was able to, even though I was able to follow a lot of that, none of it, I don't think any of it led anywhere. It's basically saying that, so the conclusion is that if you do not accept that Christian theology is true, then something else is false. It's such a kind of a false dichotomy. So if you don't accept theological revelation, then what is false? All right, I don't care about that. Tell me what you're actually trying to say. Like what is the argument saying? Okay, you can't ground knowledge without God. What does ground knowledge mean? Right. I don't. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't need that. I don't need the premises. I'm asking what. Well, right. I'm asking. No, I'm asking. No, this is what I'm asking. I'm not a philosopher. I don't care about all that. What I'm asking is, right. Hold on, bro. What I'm asking is this, and it's very very simple. Um, when you say you cannot ground knowledge if God does not exist, what does that actually mean? Okay, is that the conclusion of the argument that you're trying to make? Okay, what is the conclusion of the argument you're trying to make? What is that? We're just saying, and basically, I don't need premises. What are you saying basically? Like in a big bow. I don't know what that means. What does all that mean? Say it in plain language. So either God exists or nothing is possible. Okay. God is a necessary condition for knowledge. Okay. Why? Okay. Okay. Right. So okay. So the first premise is a presuppose is presupposing God exists, correct? All right. Why should we presuppose that a God exists? How? Why so? Why not? Yeah, it is. Why not? Okay, so um okay, so because let me try to understand this. You said that I'm sorry, say that one more time, please. Hmm. Did anyone understand that? I'm sorry, William. I have no idea what any of that means because it like I do have a little knowledge on philosophy, but that sounded very word salady. Like it's like you're saying that if yeah, just give me 1 second. Well, yeah, let me just try to reach a clarification. So either so if we can gain knowledge just by human faculties, that would mean that we don't necessarily need revelation from a god, right? Okay, it's cool. So if we can gain knowledge through our own human faculties, then we don't necessarily need revelation from a god. Then you said that if we don't necessarily need revelation from a god, all right. So what exactly are you trying to say? Because this sounds very jumbled. Okay, what I asked was if we can gain knowledge through human faculties, that would also mean that it's not necessary to get revelations from a god to gain knowledge. Is that right? And I'm asking why is that the case? I don't. What does autonomous epistemology mean? What does that mean? Oh, come within us. Okay, cool. So so okay, I got you. I got you. Let's stop right there. Let's stop right there. So that's the first premise. Either knowledge comes from God or that it's something that we discover, right? So yeah, so it either comes from God or something that we discover. Cool. I understand that. Now your conclusion that necessarily needs to come from a God. Now I understand you went through all the premises to connect this, right? But I didn't understand any of it. Like I barely followed it, to tell you the truth. So all right. So in layman's terms, my question would then be: if you're saying that knowledge must come from a God, my question would then be: but that's the conclusion of your argument. We already know the conclusion of the argument. Like knowledge must come from. I understand that the first premise is not conclusion. This is why I don't do the syllogism thing. Just tell me what you're trying to say. What you're trying to say. Hold on. The what you're trying to say. No. I don't need a syllogism. No, William, I do not. Uh, okay. And okay, cool. In one go, what are you actually trying to say? Yeah, sure. Okay, let's stop. Let's stop because you made a mistake. You said that hey, I appreciate the heart. You said that you know everything that we know comes from like evolution, brain chemistry, etc. That's like trusting a calculator built on accident. It's not, because the things that we discover, it's not, because because number one, the universe wasn't an accident. We have no idea how the universe came to be in the first place. We know from the Big Bang, but we don't know where everything started at. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean, hold on. That doesn't mean that the universe started on accident. It just could be a process that we don't understand yet. But the second thing, so these are not analogous. But the second thing that I would say is that things that we discover about our universe and the axioms that we create, they tend to work out, right? If they didn't work out, it would eventually show you, because science is self-correcting. So we still don't need a God in that case. It's not like trusting a blind or an accidental calculator. Well, logic is basically rules that we create. Like we did, we looked out into the universe, and we saw a few things, and we said, okay, this is like, logic is basically a language, just like how math is a language, right? Like English doesn't exist transcendentally. English is something that we made up. Yeah, logic is the same. Logic is something that we made up to communicate on what we're seeing out in the universe. We can't. We just have to kind of assume that it will. What do you mean? I don't know what the problem with induction is. I don't care about it. Yeah, give me a second. Yeah, I don't know how to solve the problem of induction. That's up to philosophers. Oh, it always happen. Yeah, yeah, I agree. We can't solve the problem of induction. So what? I don't. That's not something I care about. Why would I? Why would I? Why do I care about that? Why should you believe anything I'm positing? I didn't posit anything. No, I said, can you give me a good reason to believe in a God? No, I'm arguing for people to give me a good reason. I'm arguing for people to give me a good reason to believe in a God, and you haven't. No, it's not. The question clearly says right here. Just give me 1 second. The question clearly says right here, can you give me a good reason to believe in a God? And you haven't. Get give me everybody give me a second, because like it's a whole panel, and I have to get to my YouTube comments in a second. But it's gonna be William, then it's gonna be Burrito, then it's gonna be my YouTube. All right, so everybody has to be in a line and wait. The person with the Jewish thing, I'm not sure how to read that. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna get to you in a second. All right, BR and dude, you'll be right after Brian, I think. All right. So yeah. So when you say to solve the problem of induction, I'm not sure. Could you just explain the problem of induction is just because things are this today doesn't mean they'll be like that tomorrow. That's true. Nobody can solve that. No, you're no, but how does your worldview solve? How does God solve just because? Okay, so God solves the fact that just because I have a job today, I can't be fired tomorrow. Okay, so what are you saying? All right, so you just said that the problem of induction is just because things work the way that they work today doesn't mean they'll work the same way tomorrow. Like natural order, like you mean like just because it's gonna rain today doesn't mean that the water cycle is gonna be the same way tomorrow. As I say, okay, yeah, I get that. That is true. It's just not probable that it will change, is it? It's possible that it can change, but it's not probable. Anything is possible. A donkey could fly up my ass. It's not probable because of physics. Yeah, physics does solve it. According to relativity, we orbit the sun, right? Hold on, William. According to gravity and according to Newtonian gravity and Einstein's theory of relativity, we orbit the sun, correct? No, look, because look, you just said, I understand that physics is empirical, but you just said that just because things were in the natural world, just because they work like that today, doesn't mean they'll be working like that tomorrow. And the example that you gave is the sun rising. Just because, hold on, hold on, let me finish, William. Just because the sun, hold on, let me finish, William. Just because the sun rose the way that it did today doesn't mean that it is tomorrow, that it's going to do that same thing tomorrow. That's the example that you gave. I agree with you. I even came up with another example, like the water cycle. Just because hurricanes in the water work the way that they do today doesn't mean that hurricanes in water will work the same way they do tomorrow. Hurricanes can come from Alaska tomorrow for all we know, right? That could happen, but it's possible to happen. Just like donkey flying out my ass is possible to happen, but is it probable? Because it always has been. It's not probable to change. What's in question? The probability of it changing? No, because there could be a one that the biggest one that's black. Right. I'm not assuming that nature is uniform, though. That's not what I'm saying. No, I'm not. I said that that's right. And what I'm saying is that when it comes to certain things, that it's not probable to change. Like you're not probable to find you're it doesn't assume that it's uniform. It assumes that things are just not it doesn't assume that it's uniform. No, 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 it's not. 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 That the future will resemble the past. All right, all right, all right. Peace out. Okay, peace out. Yeah, I'm not a Phil bro, guys. This is why I don't like Phil bros. All right. The next person I have up here is Burrito. How's it going, Burrito? Are you over 18? And can you give me a good reason to believe in a God? Good vibes, bad vibes? I don't know what that means. Well, what does that mean exactly? Like you just don't, like a person gives you a like the ick.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Have you ever? Do you feel that, or like, do you believe in that? Do you believe like in?
Yeah, there are people who I don't really get along with. Yeah, sure.
So, yeah. So like I don't know. I just feel like me. I'm not a Jesus freak, but like I feel like if you do good, God kind of like looks out for you. Like if you help somebody that is homeless, I noticed that I don't know. And then for one like for one, like I lost my job one time, and out of nowhere I just got this check in my mail. I just feel like that's God looking out for us.
Okay, how do you know that?
Because I was a bad person, back in the days.
Mm-hmm.
I was really bad, and I feel like if you do bad things happen to you. So how do you explain that?
Yeah, sure. In a superficial level, if you do something wrong or you do something bad, or if you're like an asshole to people, they can be an asshole to
Yeah.
you, right? That's gonna happen on a superficial level. But when we're talking about like esoterically, like is it like like karma, things go around, come around. No, not always. I don't always believe that's true, because someone can be a completely horrible person and literally nothing happens to them.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
true
know.
too.
But like my experience is like if you do good, I feel like God. Like I said, I'm not a Jesus freak,
Hmm.
but like I try my best to help people out. I feel like God is love.
Hmm.
If you help people out, if you do good, like I have family in Mexico, they're poor. And I'm not rich, but like whenever I have extra money, I send them a little extra. Help them out.
Yeah, sure.
And I noticed,
I got family in Haiti, and I do the same thing for them, right?
yeah, and I feel
But
like God bless you. Like whenever you do stuff like that, like it's like a blessing
gotcha.
from
Give me one
God.
second. Give me one second. Brian, in my YouTube queue, you're gonna be right after Burrito, right? And BR wanted to say something really quickly. But let me just finish with Burrito real quick, BR, and I'll get right to you. All right. Like I think you're friendly. Brian, I'm gonna get to you right after I speak to Burrito. Give me one second. All right. Um. So yeah. You
Should
said
I get out of here?
who said that?
You invited me up. I'm sorry. Like I just didn't know like if it was going to be a bunch of conversations.
Yeah. It's a queue. I saw you said that it's Faith in my comments, so I
Yeah,
invited you
Faith.
up to explain. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Right,
I'll get to you right after I speak to the others. All right. All right. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
Burrito. So yeah, when it comes to that, right? The question really is that I understand that doing good things, and sometimes a lot of people who do bad things end up suffering for the consequences of their actions, right? That's all good and well. The question still remains though, like, is that a good reason to believe in a God?
I think so. I don't know. Like you say your money. You say you help your family in Haiti, right?
Yeah, I have my family in Haiti.
Like yeah, like do you feel like do you see any like blessings when that happens, or like do you feel I don't know.
Do I feel blessings when that happens?
Yeah, when you help out your family.
Yeah, when I help out my family, yeah, I'm pretty happy that I did it. Yeah, sure. But like, I feel good about myself, and I feel good. Give me a second. Yeah, okay, I'm only taking ops right now. I'm gonna bring you up in a bit. All right, I'm only taking ops right now. But yeah. So when it comes to helping my family out, I do it because like it's just the right thing to do, and I feel good about it, right? And it it's great that they get help from me, right? So yeah, that's why I do it.
Yeah. And then another one is like we all have that little voice in our head. How we know that that's not God?
Like
Like guiding.
like the guiding voice in our head, that could just be
Yeah.
that could just be plain old empathy. Why does it have to be a God, not just empathy?
Well, because like whenever you think about something, you kind of listen to that voice in your head. Like what is it telling you? Like is it, and most of the time it tells you like to do good,
Yeah, sure.
or do the right thing. It kind of guides you.
Yeah, sure.
So how do you explain that little voice in your head?
Empathy. Yeah, just straight up empathy.
Yeah.
You have empathy, I have empathy, like we all grew empathy, right?
I don't know. I just like I said, I feel like we do have a creator. Some people might call him God. For all we know, this could be like a virtual world or something. But I feel like we do have a creator at the end of the day. Some people call him God. Some people
Mhm.
call him Allah.
Yeah, sure. Give me a second. Give me a second. Let me know if y'all could still hear in the comments, y'all. Let me know if y'all can still hear it in my YouTube comments. Let me know if y'all can still hear the live. They couldn't hear anybody for a while, but now they can hear y'all. But yeah, I understand that you feel that that there's a creator, but the question could be, the question is more is why? Why should we believe that there is one? Because I don't see if there's I don't see any real evidence of there being one. So why should we believe it? I understand, like the voice in our heads and everything like that, but to me that's just more empathy, right? Like we evolved as a social species to have empathy because we needed to have it, right? Because if we didn't have it, we will all be tearing each other apart, and that doesn't happen for the most part. I know wars and stuff like that, and people harm others, but for the most part, people aren't going out their way to harm another person, right? So like most people want to get along with everybody else. So we evolved empathy because we needed to. So why does that why have a God to explain that? We could explain that through our own faculties in science. Give me one second. Gray Tiger and Stefan 260. I invited you both up. You guys can both come up with and talk to me if you like. I always want people to who disagree with me to talk. But yeah, burritos. All that makes sense.
Yeah, somewhat.
All right, cool. I'm gonna go ahead and move on now. But I do appreciate you being up, and we'll talk soon. All right.
All right, for sure.
I appreciate you. All right, y'all. Keep liking the live and keep sharing it. We're at 8K likes right now. 1,000 people watching. I do appreciate that. Stefan, go ahead and come on up. Because I would definitely like to speak to anyone who disagrees with me. We could definitely have a good conversation, especially if you're a black person. I think more black people should speak to each other about this type of stuff. All right, Brian, I'm gonna invite you up on my stage. Give me 1 second. All right, YouTube, y'all gonna be able. No, I said YouTube. TikTok, y'all are gonna be able to hear Brian, but Brian is not gonna be able to hear y'all. Before you go, Brian, I want to talk to BR real quick. BR, you said that you had something to say. What was that?
Yeah, I was saying that I wanted to answer the prompt.
Yeah, sure.
It says, "Can you give me a good reason to believe in a God?"
Mm-hmm.
The best reason um, that you actually already believe in a God is the definition of what God is itself, which is L, which means relative direction. You already believe in a relative direction. This is all that God is. God is a title. Now, if you're talking about a particular God,
Yeah, I spoken to him before. I'm not doing that again. All right. Stay woke. Go ahead and stay in the comments for me. I'm gonna get you. Stay woke. I know you disagree with me. And Gray, I know you disagree with me as well. I'm definitely gonna talk to both of you. I appreciate y'all being up. Like I said, I want to talk to more black people about this type of this subject because there's not a lot of black non-believers. So it'll definitely be a good conversation. All right, Brian, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, y'all.
Can you hear me?
All right. Yeah, I can hear you. All right. So just to let everybody know, Brian is gonna be able to hear the TikTok feed, and y'all who are my guests, y'all not gonna be able to hear Brian. All right, but my audience
We
can
just
hear
heard him.
Brian. All right, so everybody just
Oh,
mute up for me real quick. Stay woke and Gray. Yeah, mute up for me real. I'm really quickly. And everyone who's in the audience, y'all gonna be able to hear Brian. Okay, it's just stay woke and Gray cannot. So for the time being, for about 15 minutes, I'll be talking to Brian. All right. Stay woke and Stefan. I mean, and Gray. Just be patient with me. All right. Stefan, go ahead and come on up. I already invited you twice. All right, Brian, how's it going? Are you over 18? And can you give me a good reason to believe in a God?
Yeah, I'm over 18. First of all, before we talk about a good reason to believe in anything at all, I think we have to agree on the definition of what consists of a belief and what do you mean by God? Because it's later in the discussion that we might have various different definition for it, and I just want to make it clear for now. What do you mean by belief and what do you mean by God?
Okay, so when I say but believe in a God, usually typically mean I mean the religious version, but it doesn't have to be the religious one. It could mean like any type of deistic God. And when I say believe in a God, that means that you sincerely are convinced that this creature or being or supernatural power exists out there somewhere.
Okay, so my argument is that when we define belief, it implies that there is something true that we can have faith that will be consistent,
Mhm.
and by God we mean that there's a supreme creator or being or a supreme being or a higher being that
Mhm.
is different than us.
Okay.
And my definition for reason is that it's an explanation or justification for events or things that happen. Do you agree with all of the above?
I'm gonna need you to repeat that one more time because I don't think I understood all of it. Go ahead and say that one more time.
So my definition for belief is that it is something that we believe to be true, something that we have faith to be true.
Right, something
So
that you're
there is an
convinced of.
inherent
I agree.
value that is it's true or false.
Say that last part
Okay,
again.
when we believe something, uh, we have faith that it is true in a
Hmm.
way.
Okay.
For example, if God exists and we believe,
Hmm.
then we have reason or justification for God's existence. That's why we believe. Because if we believe without evidence or
Right. Okay.
reasons,
So,
yeah.
mhm. Right. Okay.
So
So
far, do you agree?
when we talk
Yeah.
about no, I don't agree. I don't think people necessarily have people have a reason to believe what they believe, but that doesn't mean that it's a sufficient reason. You feel what I'm saying? Like for example, the ancient
Yeah.
Greeks,
Okay.
they
Okay.
believed in
But it's just
hold on. Let me
a
just finish.
different topic. Okay. Okay.
Let me just finish.
Yeah.
The ancient Greeks, for example, believed in Zeus, right? And they believed in Zeus because they saw lightning and rain coming down from the sky. But Zeus doesn't actually exist, right? So they had a reason because they couldn't explain why lightning and rain happened. But was it a good reason? Not necessarily.
Yeah. I totally agree with you because what I want to say is that a reason might not necessarily be sufficient or good reason to believe. That's why in modern age, I think most people don't believe in Zeus anymore because the reason that the ancient Greeks used is not sufficient anymore by the advancement of technology, right?
Right.
Yeah, and I agree with you that Zeus, the god, doesn't exist, but I
Hmm.
believe in a different God, in the Christian God, in the Jesus Christ specifically, because of the evidence that in the Bible and history and the gospel, a lot
Hmm.
of eyewitnesses and first accounts that say that Jesus died and risen,
Right.
and they are
Okay. So
willing to bet their life on it, getting
on it. Okay.
tortured until
Gotcha.
die.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. So when it comes to the Bible, right? There's no way that we can sufficiently show that those stories are true. That's the first thing. Now you said that there are eyewitnesses, right? Like we don't exactly know who those eyewitnesses were. But the most popular story about there being the most popular story about there being eyewitnesses was like the 500 witnesses that saw Jesus or whatever. The thing is though, like that's the Bible is the only place that we have ever we see this story, right? We don't see this anywhere else. Even the other books of the Gospels don't say that. You see what I'm saying? So like, who are these 500 people? Do we have any memoirs from them? How do we show these 500 people even existed, or was the person who wrote, I think that story is in Matthew if I'm not mistaken, was the person who wrote Matthew just lying about it? We don't know. You see what I'm saying? So we can't just say that 500 people saw it because it said it was so in this book, and therefore that makes it true. For me, otherwise, we might as well believe in the Iliad because the Iliad said that thousands of people in the battlefield between Greece and Troy saw Zeus come down and bless Achilles or whatever. Right? Just because the Iliad says that doesn't make it true. So it's the same thing in the Bible. Sure, there's I don't have any beef with like the notion that Jesus was a real person. He likely was. You see what I'm saying? But the issue then becomes around like his supernatural powers. Did he actually walk on water? Did he actually cure a blind person? Did he actually raise from the dead? Are these stories actually true? Him being a person is fine, but did he actually do the supernatural things that are purported to him? Those are the questions that we need to actually ask and have evidence for. And unfortunately, there is none of it. Now, there's supernatural stories happen all the time, right? Every culture has supernatural stories. So why would this one be any different?
I totally agree with you that we need evidence. The question is, can we accept Bible as an evidence for the existence of Jesus Christ, the death and resurrection? Because it is one kind of evidence that I think unfortunately a lot of people will just outright reject because it just doesn't fit in their belief systems. A lot of people nowadays don't believe that miracle exists at all. And what if it did happen, that the miracles did happen, and the only evidence at the time is eyewitness account? Will Are you willing to accept that as evidence, or what kind of specific evidence that you need to believe that the stories are true?
We need some sort of physical evidence. We need some sort of evidence that the supernatural actually does happen. Like
Okay,
people
okay,
can actually walk on water, raise from the dead, can spit on blind people and cure
okay.
them, or can split the moon in half, or
Okay.
can shoot fire out their hands. We need actual evidence that the supernatural is an actual real thing, and we don't have that.
Can I
Okay.
interject real quick?
Give me 1 second, Gray. The reason why you dropped is because if you leave the app for a second, then you're not. Then we don't. Then you're not gonna.
Right.
Because the app
I
will
was
drop you
driving.
basically. Yeah, not a
I was
problem.
driving.
Not a problem. All right, give me
All
a
right.
second, Gray. All right. You're actually gonna be next, Gray. After actually, Stay Woke is next. Crap, I forgot the queue. What the queue is. My bad, y'all. But I'm gonna get back to it. All right, but Brian,
All right.
can you finish what you were saying?
Yeah. Have you looked into the Shroud of Turin
The Shroud of Turin. Yeah,
miracle? Yeah.
I've seen the Shroud of Turin. Most examinations say it comes from like the 13th century, if I'm mistaken.
No, actually, it comes from the second century. So it's very, very early, and there is a very high probability that the man that is depicted in the Shroud of Turin is actually Jesus Christ, because it is a male Jewish that is dying
Mm-hmm.
by torturous crucifixion, and the image that is portrayed in the Shroud of Turin can only happen with intense radiation and light, and we
I
cannot
mean,
with modern technology
that's the
recreate
claim. That's the claim. But when they actually look at the Shroud of Turin, they said that this most likely came from the 13th century. I know there's a new one that came out that said it actually came from the second century, but the methodology that it used is disagreed by basically all of the experts. You know what I'm saying? Even the Christian experts are saying that this methodology that they're using is extremely flawed. So no one really accepts it, right? So out of this
no
one
the,
exception,
uh,
why should we accept that one instead of the consensus of what the scholars say?
the thing is, the 13th century proof is from a piece of linen that is cut from very, very edge of the cloth. So
Now
it's
they've done the whole shroud. It's not just that part. They've done the whole shroud.
okay, okay. So let me get it straight. So even if the cloth is from 13th century, the fact that it is now still impossible to recreate, don't you think there's some kind of merit in believing that it's one kind of miracle?
No, because
That,
we can recreate it. People have recreated similar things to the shroud.
no, there's never been a recreation of Shroud of Turin, because uh, the intense radiation is so faint that you can only see the shadow if you uh, back out and see it from 8 meters across.
The thing is that's give me a second.
So the thing is, we disagree on
Yeah, that actually has
what
happened. In
evidence,
2009,
because
in 2009 there was a because I knew I was thinking right. And back in 2009 there was a professor of organic chemistry that actually reproduced the Shroud of Turin using medieval technologies. Like he did the exact same thing, and it came out the exact same way. That happened back in 2009. An organic chemist named Luigi Garlasecchi. He's an Italian physicist, no, Italian chemist. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's been happening before. They've been able to recreate it
yeah, but that was 2009.
back in 2009.
Uh,
Yeah, they were able to recreate it.
2009. It's like more than 10 years ago. We have new proofs now by Jeremiah Johnston, a doctor, and he's saying that the possibility that the man depicted in the Shroud of Turin, that is not Jesus Christ, is 1 in 200 billion. Like it's
Right,
very, very unlikely, more
and
unlikely
right,
to for
and
it to
he's
not be.
right, and he's the one that used the techniques that's not accepted by any of the scholarly consensus. Right.
No, the ones that use the techniques that is not accepted is the one that said it's from the 13th century.
No, that's
So
wrong. The ones
yeah,
that said that's it's from the
so we
second
can
century. The one
okay,
that
okay.
said, hold on, Brian,
We
Brian.
can
The
agree
one,
that
Brian,
scientists
The
have a lot
one
of
that says the
disagreement,
Brian.
right?
Listen, the one that says it's from the second century is the one that's not accepted by the scholars. The one that says from the 13th century is the one accepted by scholars.
No, from the latest scientific finding from 2023. So
Right,
it's just
that's the one
only
that's not accepted
oh,
by the scholars. They've always said is from 2013. I mean, I'm sorry. They always say it's from the 13th century. The one that just recently came out in 2023, they use methods that's not really accepted by the entire scientific community.
okay. I think here's what I think. Even if there's disagreement in the methodology to conclude the year, the fact that there is so many evidence, it's not from just the picture, but the 3D 3D scan, and then the blood that is on a piece
What
of cloth.
what other evidence do
So,
we have
so
that Jesus
it's
resurrected?
not just one scientific study, scientific field, but it's a lot of multiple scientific field together and synchronized into one.
Right, right. Okay. So what other scientific evidence is there that Jesus actually rose from the dead and made miracles? Because as far as we know, science cannot even show these things to be real. So do we have actual scientific evidence that Jesus rose from the dead, that he floated into the sky, that Elijah made fire come down, or that Moses parted the Red Sea? Like, we have any scientific evidence of any of this?
The thing is, we only need to accept one miracle to believe every other miracle, I think.
We
Because
don't
if
have
we
to
believe
accept
that
one
Jesus
miracle to
Christ
believe every other miracle.
yeah, because if we believe that Jesus Christ has death, has died and risen, then we can
Mhm.
believe that he is God, and that whatever he has said in his lifetime
Mhm.
is what God has said.
I can understand
And
that you believe that. Well, this is actually down to the wire because we're over 15 minutes now. But yeah, I can understand that you believe that. But like, belief isn't evidence, and I would rather have evidence. But I do appreciate you being up here, Brian. We'll go ahead and talk later. All right, y'all. That was on my YouTube guest. I hope you guys all heard that and were able to speak as or hear him as well. I appreciate you all being up here. All right, we're gonna go ahead and move on to, if you're on my YouTube right now, just let me just give a quick commercial break, y'all. If you're on my YouTube, both my YouTubes and my Facebook right now, there is a link to join. It's in the description or it's in the comments. You can go ahead and click on that link, join on the stage, and we can go ahead and have that talk just like I did with Brian. If you're over on TikTok, go ahead and click that guest button. I'm gonna go ahead and speak to one of our other guests in a bit. All right. Give me 1 second. Stay woke and gray. Let me see. JD. I'm not sure how to say your name, JD. JD, are you over
Jadensky.
Jadensky? There we go. Are you over 18? And do you believe in some sort of God?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
No, well,
Go,
yes. I was like worried about the second question, but
yeah,
yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah, sure. All right, cool. All right, go ahead and stay on mute for me real quick. I'm gonna go ahead and talk to Stay Woke and Gray. I'm gonna talk to Stay Woke first, and then I'm gonna talk to Gray. All right, I think that was the order. All right, Stay Woke. I think we spoke before, but we were on a panel, so you got kicked really quickly. All right, so Stay Woke. Yeah, we're on a panel, so I got kicked really quickly. So I'm glad we could talk one on one now. All right, Stay Woke. I know that you believe in a God. Can you give me a good reason to do the same?
So, like I stated in the comments, I think I can, but in the comments I stated, the Christian faith isn't based on evidence. It's you can ask any Christian, they will tell you that it is the personal relationship they have with Christ. That is what it is based off of. So it's not like a faith-based, foundational religion, right? That's not what it's about. But I do have a question. I want to ask you a question. I wanted to ask you if Jesus himself, appeared to you in a dream, or even showed up to your front door and said, "Hey, I know that you've had questions. I know that you've been praying, and I want to, chop it up with you. I want to give you the game."
Mhm.
You know, would that be enough to convince you,
No.
or at least get you to change your ways? No.
No. Here's two things I want to say. Number one, like, I understand that Christianity is faith based, right? That's all good and well. What I've always said is that faith is not really a reliable way to get to the truth. Because there are plenty of people in history that had faith in things that were definitely not real, like the Greeks. You know what I'm saying? Like the Greeks, like the Egyptians, like Anubis doesn't actually exist, right? But they built pyramids to the guy. You see what I'm saying? So they had a lot of faith in Anubis, but he's not real. And the Greeks had a lot of faith in Zeus. They built temples to him. He's not real. You see what I'm saying? So faith is not necessarily a way to get to the truth. You see what I'm saying? And I understand that if we go down a laundry list of things in this world, I'm pretty sure there's gonna be something where I have to say I just gotta have faith in that, right? So like it's not like I'm against faith as a concept. I know there are some things in this world, I can't think of anything right now. There's gonna be something that I'm just gonna have to say, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna have to believe it, right? Off of faith.
Right.
Like
the
for
Epstein
example,
list.
yeah, exactly. So, well, not like the
Yeah,
Epstein list,
believe
but there are things
Well,
that
they
I
said
have
they
to
had
just.
it, but now they say they
Now they're
don't.
saying that they don't. Exactly. So, there are some
believe 'em,
things
I
where,
guess.
yeah, there are some things that I'm just gonna have to believe without any evidence, right? So, or any hard evidence, exactly.
Right.
But I just don't think for larger things like the questions of whether gods exist or not, faith is a good way to get there, right? But the second thing that I would say is you asked me if it came to me in a dream or if you knocked on my door. The reason why I wouldn't believe it is because I'm still a human being that has biased faculties. You see what I'm saying? Like I could delude myself. There are times when I'm walking around, I hear someone call my name. No one called my name. You see what I'm saying? So like delusions are not delusions. I would say this, like hearing voices is actually healthy. Like having certain weird dreams is actually healthy for you. The problem is when they're constant or if you're hearing conversations. You feel me? Like schizophrenic people don't hear voices. They hear conversations. You feel what I'm saying? Now, when it's like that, that's how you know you're deluded. You feel what I'm saying? So when if Jesus were if someone knocked on my door and said, "Hey, I'm the Lord Jesus Christ," I'm just not gonna believe him, right? I'm gonna be like, get off my porch, you crazy man.
What if he
Or I'm gonna
shows you
say,
his hand?
showed me.
He's
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
yeah. He's like, he shows you his hands. You
Right.
see the holes. He's like, it's really me.
Right.
I'm really here to chop
Exactly.
it up.
Now, if he says like what ways can I show you that I'm the Lord Jesus Christ, I would immediately tell him take me back in time for me to see my ancestors get enslaved. He's all powerful, so he can definitely do that, right? So if he can do that, he does do that. I'm like, okay, this is obviously a very powerful person, a very powerful agent. Then the evidence standing there says that he has a power to do something. Is likely he's telling me the truth, right? So I'm gonna chop it up with him. I will chop it up with him. Now, would I go as far to actually believe that this is the Jesus from the Bible? I'm gonna have to have a lot of questions, and from the clear it up. You feel what I'm saying? But him just showing up and showing me that he's powerful, like he can actually do supernatural things. It might be enough to convince me. But what I would say is that I don't know if I'm seeing an alien or am I actually seeing the actual Jesus. And number two, I would immediately question how come he's not doing this for everybody at the same time in their own language. Because I shouldn't be special.
Like in the case of Saul, who was converted to Paul. I mean, it was a powerful, intervention, and he couldn't go back after he had experienced what he experienced. And that's the case for, I would believe, most Christians, they have that experience, and it's like there's no going back after having that experience. But I mean, yeah, I get too, for some, they would actually want to see him. And he said, blessed are those, he told Thomas, blessed are those, blessed for you who, see and believe, but is blessed until it's even more blessed for those who have not seen
and still believe.
And so, I mean,
I get that. It's just for me to be convinced. I have a high threshold. I have a very high threshold, especially if we're talking about a God. You know what I'm saying? So I have a very high threshold. So like the Damascus experience is actually my entire. That's the thing that will actually convince me. I've always said, when people always ask me what will convince me that this particular God exists, I've always said, give everybody everywhere at the same time in their language the road to Damascus experience. The same experience that he gave to Paul, give it to everybody everywhere at the same time in their language. Do that, and then that will convince me. That will convince me that, because even if we were to say that it's aliens or something like that, there's a reason why they pick that particular story to do. There's a reason why they pick this particular God to do. So
it seems like if everyone
right.
got it, sorry, I mean to cut you off, but
Yeah.
if everyone got it, it seems like it would be diluted because everyone has the Bible now, right? And we're kind of like torn between that. But if it was just you,
Mhm.
I mean, if it was just you,
I would think
it
I
would
was deluded
seem like
if it was just me. If it was just me, I would think I was deluded. Now, if everyone got it at the same time, like my wife came home and said, "Babe, 5 hours ago, Jesus came to me," and I called my homie down in Miami. He said, "Yo, bro, yeah, Jesus came to me." And then I talked to some of the people in the comments, and they said, "Yeah, Jesus came to me." And I turned on the news, and they said everyone experienced Jesus. Now I'm saying all over the world, in the Muslim world, and in Asia, in Japan, we all experienced Jesus. It happened worldwide to everybody at the same time in their own language. Yeah, that will convince me. But if it's just me
and
by
then
myself, I might be deluded.
the news will say, yeah, you guys experienced we all experienced some terrorist attack, right? They will dismiss it.
No,
and,
I don't think so. We live in the majority Christian West. I don't think that a majority Christian West with a president who's trying to instill Christian nationalism would then the media would then deny that it happened. I don't think that's true. That won't happen. Like almost all the newscasters claim some sort of Christian faith. I don't think that will happen. That would convince everyone that Christianity is true if it happens to everybody at the same time.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, I believe the scripture says every knee will bow. And I mean, once we get to that phase in life, I mean, it's too late. Right. But if it was, you had a personal, experience for me, I think it seems like that should be enough. But yeah, if that's not enough, then yeah,
the reason why that's not enough, right, is because I can have a personal experience and you can have a personal experience. But two things: what are you experiencing? What are you attributing that experience to? And number two, there are people who have supernatural experience of anything. I think I brought this up to you last time. My grandmother was a Haitian voodoo practitioner, right? She's had plenty of experiences and with the spirits and the gods of her religion, right? She had those personal experience. Does that mean that those gods are true?
I mean, it was true for her. She had the experience.
Mm-hmm. Right. So if it's true for her, does that then translate to reality where it's true for all of us?
Well, for me being a Christian, it just would make me, take a step back, like, whoa, you're being visited by some spirits. You're like, if it's not Jesus, then yeah, it's a demon, right? I mean, if it's not Jesus, it's truly a demon. But I don't have the nerves to tell anybody that. I wouldn't want to try to make someone feel evil or wicked because they had, some type of, supernatural experience or divine intervention. It's like, I mean, believe what you believe. But yeah, I mean, I guess the question was more like really just trying to see, like, what was your take on, like, are you like I believe and help me with my disbelief? You're on that camp, or are you just like, no, it's no way possible. I don't care if he came here or not. I would smack him in the face if I saw him, which I think is just absurd. But yeah, I mean, I think you're genuine and got an authentic heart. And I think it's required that we, ask real questions and, get the answers that we need and the methodology that we use. If, we're not harming anybody, not hurting anybody, not, misleading anybody, then I think, God will visit you in due time. I mean, I look at Moses. He didn't start his mission from God until he was about 80 years old. So, I mean, it's like, for me, I'm thinking like, man, 80 years old, I'm a senior citizen. I'm trying to enjoy grandchildren and sit down. But I mean, he saw God 80 years old and got to work. And it's like, because he saw God, it was like, it's no coming back after that experience. Like you're changed for the rest of your life, whether you're 80 or, 8, you're changed for the rest of your life once you truly do have that encounter.
All right, sure. I mean, there were times when I was raised in church and I felt I had that encounter, right? Like, but it's always about what do you actually attribute their personal experience to? Because one thing that I found out is that all the feelings and the emotions that I got when, I felt that I had the Holy Ghost and that God touched me or whatever, you can get that feeling, you can replicate that feeling, anywhere, not just in other religions, but even in different types of music. You know what I'm saying? You can replicate those same type of feelings. So how would I know to differentiate between like those feelings and God touching me or whatever?
So like if you were in the church once and then you left the church, how can you be sure of yourself and like you're just your mental health now. Like, I mean, you have to pretty much say that I was crazy once upon a time, and now I'm not. And if you acknowledge that you were crazy, suffering some type of psychosis, like, how do you know, like, without any type of mental health counseling, how do you know that you're not sick still? And I'm not trying to be offensive
No,
or
I'll go.
anything, but like, how do you know?
I did get therapy before because I was back in my mid 20s. I was on a self deletion phase. Like I didn't want to live anymore. You know what I'm saying? So like I did get therapy back then, but what I would say is that people who are within religions are not necessarily like crazy delusional. You know what I'm saying? I think they're more I hate to use the word manipulated, but their emotions are within it. You see what I'm saying? It's not that they're. I'm not gonna use the word manipulated. I don't know the exact word to use, but it's more of an emotional thing than them just being crazy. You know what I mean? I don't think they're crazy. I think they're just emotional about it. Like it's something that they take as, or not just Christians, but any religious person takes as like a personal thing for them. Like it's part of who they are as a person. You see what I'm saying? And taking that away kind of hurts. You see what I mean? And it hurts like psychologically, even physically, if part of who you made yourself is not there anymore. I'm saying I learned that through my psychology courses. Like when you make those type of traits an integral part of who you are, it hurts to not have it. You see what I'm saying? So when it comes to people who are religious, I don't think they're crazy. I don't think they're delusional. I think they're just very, very emotional about it. And this belief is part of who they are as a person, which is why, like, it's hard to let it go. Like my journey into non-belief, it took 10 years. This was not easy, not an easy thing to do. You know what I mean? It's just like at the conclusion of it, I had to be honest with myself and ask myself, can I actually believe in this thing? And I know that I don't have any good reason to believe it. The answer for me was no. I didn't change as a person. I just stopped believing in this thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, yeah, I'm not gonna hold up the rest of the guests. I'm sure they've got some better thought-provoking conversation than me, but I was really just curious about that question. It's like I feel like that's a good question to ask, and I mean I've heard some different answers on it, but I appreciate your answer. Like I said, I think you're a genuine person and have the right mindset as far as like going out and getting your truth, because yeah, I mean nobody knows what tomorrow holds, but yeah, if you keep asking questions, I guarantee you'll get the answer.
Yeah, sure. Hey, I appreciate you. I'm glad that we're able to talk now because panels do get a little rowdy. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I generally didn't want to talk to you back then. I was hoping that maybe, excuse me, on another live we'll get to talk again, and I am glad that we did. But I do appreciate you. I am gonna move on now, but appreciate you being up here. All right.
Yep. Thank you. You have a good one.
You too. All right, guys. We have 9.88. Great. Give me a second, Badunsky. Is Gray is right in front of you. I'm gonna go ahead and get to you right after I get to him. All right. All right, guys. I appreciate everybody being here. We're at 9.3K likes. Try to get me to 10.5K likes, y'all. Let's try to get to 10.5K likes before I gotta get out of here. Everyone who is watching me on both the YouTube channels and on my Facebook, I appreciate y'all so much. I really, really appreciate y'all. Make sure to run those likes up. Make sure to keep liking the live. And I appreciate this new format that I got where everyone can speak and hear each other. You guys are amazing. I do have a gift goal. I'm only about 25 away from the gift goal. Go ahead and gift me up. And I appreciate everybody who's here. I do have a subscription goal as well. If you would like to subscribe, it's only $2.99, less than a cup of coffee, y'all. We spend more than that on Starbucks. Go ahead and subscribe to me if you like to this show and would like to do more of these. This week I'm doing religion. Next week we'll be back to politics. All right. Okay. Great. I appreciate your patience, man. I know it's been a while, but I appreciate your patience. I appreciate you staying with me. You said that you are over 18 and you think you can give me a good reason to believe in a God. Go ahead and tell me what you think that reason is, because I don't think I have a good one. I hope we didn't lose Gray. Gray, you still there? Gray, are you still there? Oh, you can't unmute yourself. Hold on, give me a second, Gray. All right, now try to unmute yourself now. Yeah, I just invited you to unmute yourself. Great. Try to do it now. All right, Gray. Do this for me. Go ahead and drop down and come back up. I'm gonna drop you down right now, and go ahead and come back up. There's something wrong with your mic. All right. Yeah, swipe out and swipe back. Can you unmute yourself now, Gray?
Back up.
There you go.
Can you hear me?
There you go.
Yeah. All right. You might hear some background noise. Hopefully, you hear me a little bit of background noise.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I do hear some background
I
noise.
applaud your honesty about. Sorry about that. I applaud your honesty about getting therapy, but I do want to say this. And like the gentleman when he closed off, it does sound like you're searching for that knowledge and that information that may convert you back or may have you reconsider your position. So I don't know if I'll be the one. I'm not a theology major or that, but I will say that I do believe in God, and I'm not really so Christian. Actually, I'm more Christian and Islam. I like the discipline of Islam, and what Christianity does, that's where I was raised. So that, of course, feels like home. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I want to ask you this question, but just as something for you to think. If America, if this planet was able to, let's say, not colonize a planet, but through a Genesis program, put life on another planet, would we be considered that God in that situation?
I'm sorry, y'all. That's a good question. I'm a fan of Star Trek, right? And that question is asked all the time on Star Trek. Yeah, that's like the prime directive. You know what I mean? Like we shouldn't intervene in other primitive cultures, exactly, because we could be a cargo cult. We could be a god at that point. So yeah, technically, yeah, if we were to go to another planet and have better technology than them, then they may see us as gods, right? But the second
No. I mean start life. Like we fire off until we put microbes into the water. We put life there. You know what I'm saying? Like we do a Genesis program, but not to get too far into that, not to be inside. The reason why I say is because I hear that you want a large, extreme amount of proof. And truthfully, I remember walking outside and just smelling flowers, just looking at plants, and knowing the complexity of life from bees to man tells me that there's a God. Like I know that there's a God within me because I speak to him. I speak and I get that answer. Like I can go to sleep at night and wake up with that better answer. I know through math I've run into what I like to think of as a small revelation. For instance, I was taking calculus, and in calculus, if you know anything about calculus, theta, beta, and then you have limits, you have different things. And I remember being in calculus and remember the quote from the Bible, I'm Alpha and Omega, I'm the beginning and the end. And I remember looking at calculus and going, okay, so 0 and infinity is the two equally distant points between the beginning and the end. And guess what? You can't reach the beginning, and guess what? You can't reach the end. But within that span, you have both negative and positive numbers, and that's a good representation of how life is. Beginning and end is within God, and negative and positive. I like to see like instead of a dichotomy where there's two sides, there's normally three sides. Because there's hot, there's cold, then there's that warm. So I say all this to say, to me, the magic of life is itself a proof of God. Earth might look like it's primitive, and it is, but the complexity about our genomes, our genetics, the atmosphere, the balance, that tells me that there's a God. That shows me that life didn't just start on its own, in my opinion. And that's a cold thought that you would have to be as an atheist. The fact that I love my child, the fact that I have a child, the fact that I can communicate, the fact that I know for a fact that I'm both spiritual, mental, and physical, and that all three of those trichotomy again are always fighting to take control. I know that, and here's the real thing about it. All three of those aspects of me have what? They have memory.
All right, so
body,
let me just say this here. Okay, so yeah, I get all that, right? Nature is very pretty. Nature is very beautiful. I'm gonna say hold on. Let me finish. Let me finish. I'm a space science guy, right? So I love everything about space. Like Saturn is one of my favorite. As a matter of fact, Saturn is my favorite planet, right? So because it looks gorgeous, and the human genome is extremely complex and everything like that. Um, all that is all good and well. That doesn't make a God exist, though. You see what I'm saying? Because like all of these can be.
But see, but that's your belief.
Right, I know that's that's tied to my belief, but the reason why I have that belief is because these things do not actually prove what a God is, or these not things don't actually prove God. These things just prove that existence is there and we enjoy it, but that doesn't mean that there was a deliberate creation behind it. We have to make that connection. We have to make the connection of we see
Wait,
this in
wait,
nature. Hold on, let me just finish.
no.
We have to make the connection between we see this in existence and therefore God exists. There's no actual connection there. You have to make that leap, and right now I'm not seeing that connection.
Okay, but the operative word is you. Because see, let me ask you a question. So let's say God said, you know what, I gotta go see Volcy. Why? Why would I want my creator that created all us, this earth, this millions of people? Why does he have to come to me to prove to me that he's existent when he's already gave me life? Like I look at the question as to whether God exists, and I'm thinking, I mean, I don't know what your experience has been for you to be, I don't want to say not disillusioned, but so rejection like of God. But I mean, it feels like there's a coldness there that maybe life has treated you in a certain way. I'm gonna tell you something. I'm here to tell you, I did time. I had issues. I mean, not issues, but I went through ordeals, and I was able to always pull myself up because of my God and how I would ask and get that instruction. But I'm wondering about you. I'm gonna flip this back to you because you're trying to tell me that if I can see the beauty of life, fish, the fact that we have plenty bountiful on the planet, that shouldn't be my proof. That should just be something physical that I see and not accept it. And again, we must go back to the main point. This is about your belief. And what about
right? I mean, the thing is, I mean, here's right here's three things that I would say. I've been through a lot of things in my life, right? But those things that I've been through in my life is not why I don't believe in God anymore. I don't believe in the God anymore because like I searched for evidence, and I searched to see if the Bible was true, and what I found was that much of the Bible is apparently not true, and there is no good evidence for it, right? But the second thing that I would say is that I'm not telling you that shouldn't be proof for you. When I ask, can you give me a good reason to believe in a God? And you say that, the nature, I'm going to tell you that's not really a good reason for me because existence is a thing, right? I understand that nature is out there and it seems to be deliberate. It seems to be created especially for us. But when we look at the actual research and science into this, nature is just nature. It doesn't really care what about human beings. You see what I'm saying? We mess up nature more than anybody else, or more than any other creature on the planet. You see what I'm saying? So it's not really that it was made specifically for us. It's just here, and we're part of it. You see what I'm saying? We're the most successful animal. You know what I'm saying? I'll give you that. We are definitely human beings are definitely the most successful animal out there because we were able to dominate the planet. We are the apex predator. We were able to do that. That doesn't mean that this earth was made specifically for our intention in mind, and we know it's not because the earth tries to kill us all the time.
Well, I'm gonna say this, but let me ask you a question. For me, this is one of the things that lets me feel that there's a God because what weighs nothing but weighs everything. And I'm not trying to be riddly, I'm just trying to give you an idea. What weighs nothing but weighs everything?
Time.
No. Well, that is one thing, but time does weigh. But a thought.
Okay.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, we are created in God's image. A thought can weigh nothing, but if I want to build a house, then that thought weighs that first brick that I lay. And that brick, matter is not created nor destroyed. So let's go to that point. I want to put it that way. But one thing I will say that we do have the ability to perceive and achieve it, to create, to go outside ourselves and to create something that is within us. So I disagree. And that to me, really, truthfully, I mean, we're all thought. And that's really what we are with thought. With thought manifested into physical. And individualized, we get a chance to do what we choose or achieve and move towards, as I like to think, a unity, but to help each other and to live. And to have that individuality and an experience in life itself. That's part of what I think is God's blessing. But I got a feeling that I'm gonna land my plane because I got a feeling that it might be based on your own experience that you may be not. I mean, believe God. I would want you to hopefully see that the magic in life. Like right now, you look like you're in a very better position. You're growing. You're growing in who you are. You're growing in a medium that you seem to have taken a liking to. And to me, I would look at that as a blessing upon which you've been given by God. It's internal because it came to you. You decided to do it. I think it's the light within inside of you that represents God. Because remember, He blew life into that first being, and we've all made that connection through our hoping and all that.
Right.
We've all come to life, but I really believe that we're thought in
I got you. I got you. Great. So all of this sounds nice, right? Nice and well. But the question then goes back to, how do you know any of that is actually true? How do you know that God created anything? How do you know that God blew things into the first life? How do you know God put a light within us? How do we know this God actually exists? That's what it all comes back to.
You know what? Because I'm conscious of it. And even though the Bible had parables, and even though back then we were learning, and we wasn't born with a tape recorder with us, we can see the empirical evidence of some of the parables that they left us to guide us. And it's been words and stories to guide man into how to live and to how to be.
Right. I agree. The Bible could be a very useful tool for parables and how to live, right? But so can the Book of Confucianism, so can the Quran, so can my grandmother's voodoo, right? So
but all of those is from God. All of those are from God. God isn't. Don't think God is just Christ. Buddha. God is all of those in different religions as well.
Cool.
I mean, the manifestation of God is just Yahweh or one God. But my belief, God is all those coming to all those different people, all those different lands, and what they're accustomed to seeing.
Gotcha.
Don't make that. But lastly, I want to say this part though. My only thing is that I was listening to you saying God popped up and spoke to you, and you might think you might be deluded, or it have to be proven. I think that you might have to. I think probably you do a lot better talking than talking to a priest or father, something like that, or somebody a theology major better than me. But I really do think that your bar is very high in this life right in front of you. And the fact that I'm looking at trees that's helping me breathe, I don't think that. I think your bar is high because let me ask you this: if God came down and proved to you, "Hey, I'm God. What you need done?" Poof, here's a giraffe made out of water. Poof, there it goes. I gotta go. See you later. Poof. Then what would you do with your life?
Then I'll be like, oh wow, I just saw this thing, and I have to believe that that is actually true because I saw it, right? Does that mean that I'm actually move on? I'll keep living. I saw something. I might have been deluded, but hey, I did see it.
But would it make you change your life?
For what? Change to what?
Well, what would you want? Let's say God came down, and this is my last question. I'm gone. If God came down and said, "Hey, Volcy, look, let's say here's water. I'm gonna make it in wine. Let's have a glass here." Yeah, Volcy, I saw your whole life, man. I saw here these steps. But I'm God. This is about free will. I can't intercede. I can't do anything. I let you live. And here's your whole life. Even a little thing you didn't think I see. Bam. So now God has did this. What's Volcy?
I'm like, I'll say, okay. There's a powerful creature out there that exists, and then I'll move on with my life, keep living the same exact way. There's nothing in my life that I think I need to. That's the thing. There's nothing in my life that I think I need to change.
All right. Can you? And I'm gonna leave you with that. I said I was gonna leave you with this. I just want you to read a book, or one. If you read one, you're gonna read them all. Pick up this book called Conversations with God. I'm not a writer. I'm not part of it. I'm not income. None of that. But these books are very good. Conversation with God, and that's all I'll say. And you'll be shocked at the book. It's about a guy who's supposed to have this conversation, but it is not a religious book. This is a little different. I think that'll be a little mind opening. But I'll stop there. Listen, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. I'm gonna let someone else take over.
All right, not a problem. I appreciate you being up here, Gray. All right, y'all. I do appreciate y'all being here. Jadunsky, I do appreciate you being patient with me. And Rich B, I appreciate you being patient as well. We're definitely gonna go ahead and keep it trucking, keep it moving, and probably have one last guest for tonight and then wrap it up. Everyone who's watching me on both my YouTubes and on my Facebook, I appreciate you all. Shout out to y'all. If you would, there we go. If you would like to join me on the YouTube feed, there is a link in the comments for you to join. Let's go ahead and keep having this conversation. Let's keep it trucking, keep it moving. All right, Judinsky, are you there?
Volcy, did you see my comment about the mod situation?
Oh yeah. I'm gonna take care of that right now. Excuse me, I'll take care of that right now. Give me a second.
Okay.
All right, Judinsky, how's it going? You there?
I'm good, man. How are you doing, man?
I'm all right. You did tell me that you are over 18, and you did disagree. I mean, not disagree with, but think you give me a good reason to believe in a God. What was that reason? Actually, Judinsky, give me 1 second. Okay, Stefan Fink 260. You've been up and down the comments, arguing back and forth, and really contributing nothing, bro. So this is what I'm gonna do. All right, I've already invited you up multiple times. You refused to come up and told me that you're not gonna come up. So I'm not gonna have you waste time and harassing my audience anymore. You can go ahead and go on mute. Next time that that you hear, go ahead and come on up. All right. If you do not come on up, the next time you come up here, I'm just gonna go ahead and block you. All right, because I don't like people harassing folks in my comments or talking and not contributing anything. Come on up, have a discussion, or fuck off. All right, Judinsky, I appreciate you being patient.
Yeah, because that's why I was trying to get the mod for. Because I don't like how you move. I do not like how he was moving at all. And he was harassing all of us, and he wished unalivement on you. By the way,
I didn't even see that.
God.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, that channel.
Hate like Christian love.
What is going on? Okay, there it is. Camera's back. All right, cool. My camera's back. All right, cool. All right, chill.
That was me.
All right, Judinsky, I appreciate you being patient. You believe in a God. Can you give me a good reason to believe in one?
Yeah, bro. I'm gonna start off this debate by saying, no, I won't even go there right just yet. I have a question for you.
Sure.
And I know. Okay, so why do you want to have this debate with black people, bro?
The reason,
like, I am Blasian. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm. The reason I want to talk to black people is because, unfortunately, well, just in our culture within black people, it's usually like expected that you're going to be some sort of Christian or Muslim, and I'm kind of annoyed by that. Number one, because they expect a black person to be some sort of Christian or Muslim. Black people and ourselves, we believe that being one of those things is tied to your morality, is tied to your mental health, is tied to even the type of person that you are. So I have these type of discussions to normalize this position, to show that there are people who don't believe in our everyday regular people. And not only that, I believe that
some of us are black.
Yeah, and a lot of us are black. And I do believe that Christianity and Islam are one of the things that have hindered and damaged the black community heavily. So that's why I usually want to talk to black people about it.
All right. That's cool. Okay. So what I say, God. Okay, let's focus on a different word than God. How do you do with creator?
It would mean the exact same thing, but sure, creator.
Well, the reason why I just want to take the connotation out of God, or all the things surrounded that idea, man. God is the deity of fortune and luck. So, and people don't want to believe in a father figure or whatever. 2025, who cares? Mm-hmm. All right, so creator is just okay. Here's my spiel. You ready for it?
Sure.
He's the eternal, external, energetic, primary mover. That's the source for the causal mechanism of everything in this existence. That's not limited to space or time, and we cannot comprehend or adequately describe him.
So how did you just do it?
I mean, by any means, we can't, or not him.
Why should we believe
understand?
it's? Why should,
Hold on. Can you mute her?
No, I'm not gonna
Because she
mute
was this whole time.
because I'm
no,
my
before I even came up.
Yeah, I got you.
Like,
But I'm not gonna.
I know she's gonna have an issue. I know she's gonna have an issue.
No, not a problem. But I want you to answer. I want you to answer the question
I
first.
have an issue.
Yeah,
bro. Why do you need
I just
backup?
want to
Like,
know.
come on.
Hold on. Let's
she wants to know something now.
Jadinsky, give me a second. All right, I'm asking you a question. All right. So the question is, you said that you made all this. Hold on. You made all these these things about oh, it's loud. Whose background is
Look
that?
at that.
It's pretty loud.
Vroom. Yo, mute
All
at
right,
least.
so
Come
That's
on.
not me.
Yeah, someone's
What you
background is
talking
pretty
about?
loud.
What was that fart noise?
All right, that wasn't a fart noise. All right, listen, Jadinsky, let's try to have a conversation.
What
all right?
are you talking about? That was not a fart noise.
So, Jadinsky, let's try to have a conversation.
Well, you
all
heard
right?
it too. That's you.
Jadinsky, focus.
No, it wasn't.
Y'all, everybody focus. Pause. Everybody focus. So, Jadinsky, listen to my question. We heard a motorcycle go by. I'm not sure if that was your background or not. But listen, all right? So,
let me just finish. Cannot adequately describe the concept.
All right,
you know,
so
can't get
right. Hold on. Jadinsky,
you know?
let me finish my question first. You said you described this God character or this creator character, then said that you cannot adequately describe him. Which one is it?
Yeah, bro. Because if something's not bound by space or time, you know, and he's outside of natural laws, which by the way makes him supernatural by definition, is because it's beyond natural. It comes from the Latin word naturalist or something like that, bro. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. Well, then that. Where he at?
All right.
Why should we believe it's something that you cannot describe?
See, I told you she's gonna do this, bro.
I don't care. Focus on the actual questions. Focus on the actual questions. The question is
always interrupt.
The question is. All right. So you said that you can't adequately describe them, but then you adequately described them. So the question now is going to be, how do you know this thing even actually exists if you can't even describe them?
No, I didn't give enough sufficient evidence, bro. And by the way, this is a philosophical discussion. We're using the metaphysical in our mind with the application of our mind to discuss this. So you already lost in that point, but
no, I didn't lose anything. I'm asking you, how do you know this thing actually exists if you can't describe it?
All right, here we go. First law of thermodynamics. Hey, look at her. Why do I have to ask? Why do I have to answer two questions at once now? Like, bro.
Okay. So the first question is going to be.
I can interject and ask a question at any time.
All right. So
how come everyone else didn't have this treatment, bro?
All right, Jadinsky, because I just brought her up. So all right, let's do this.
You just brought her up,
all
bro?
right, so
you guys,
Jadinsky, be quiet for a second. All right, let's be fair, Kay.
Be quiet.
Let's go ahead and let him answer the question.
She's a shield. And then you're paying her.
Let's go ahead and let's go ahead and let him answer his questions. Answer my question, and then we'll go ahead and talk to him once he answers the question. All right. So we'll be fair to you, Jadinsky, and we want to interrupt since you're getting too.
This ain't fair. This is a 2-on-1.
It's not a 2-on-1. All right. So listen to the question.
What you talking about? There's two people trying to ask me two questions.
All right. So I'm going to ask you the questions then. Chill out. All right, so I'll talk to you first.
Mute her. Okay,
I'll talk to you first, and then Kay will talk to you next. How about that?
I'm not muted. I'm respecting my friend, so don't try.
Oh my God, who is he? She, bro.
All right, bro. You're very, very close to getting dropped. Very, very close to getting dropped. All right.
Actually, I'm about to do it right now. Bye.
Very, very close.
Because I don't tolerate foolishness. Bye.
Which kind of sucks because it looks like he was gonna have a good conversation. But anyway, Rich B, how's it going?
It's going pretty good, man. How you doing?
I'm all right. Are you over 18 and do you believe in some sort of God?
I am most definitely over 18. And I do believe in some sort of God. And let me preface by saying I am not Christian nor am I Muslim.
Cool. All right. So you believe the God that you believe in is some sort of deistic God outside of space and time, or what is the God that you believe in?
Well, what I believe is that I don't believe that there is a God in the sense that most people believe. Like, okay, there's some invisible entity or being somewhere that's apart and separate from us.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that. I don't believe in that concept. The way I see, if you want to call it God, out of convenience to use that term. I believe that there's only one reality, and that reality is consciousness. And consciousness is not something that's localized. It's not something that's you can point to in some particular location and say, hey, this is where God or whatever you want to call it is. It is not separate from us. It is not something that's okay, we are who we are, and then there is God, or there's the universe, and then there's God, or there's the world, and then there's God. I don't believe in that dualistic concept. I believe that there's only one reality, and that reality is consciousness. And everything that we think is real is an appearance in consciousness. So that's what I believe.
Okay.
Now,
I'm not sure what that means.
Okay. Well, let me say this. It's sort of like saying, can I use a metaphor?
Sure.
If that's okay. If I were to give you a gold bracelet, right? And I said to you that there's no such thing as a bracelet. There's only gold. That the bracelet, that what you think is a bracelet, is simply a form and shape that appears in the reality of gold. Does that make sense?
No.
Okay. If I say to you, here's this gold bracelet. I'm going to give you this bracelet and I'm going to keep the gold. Is that possible?
No.
Why?
Because it's because you described like it's a golden bracelet. So the gold and the bracelet are intertwined. The gold is formed into the bracelet, basically. So you have the material of the gold, and you have the material of the gold, and you have the form of the bracelet. So if you said I'm gonna take the gold and give you the bracelet, you can't really do that.
I'm gonna show my big fat juicy cock. I want to show my penis head right now. I'm gonna turn my camera.
All right. So yeah. So
and I'm blocking you from the live permanently.
Yeah, go ahead and block him, please. Yeah, I appreciate it. Go ahead and block him, please. But yeah, does that make sense, Rich? Because you said a gold bracelet, right? So the gold is in the form of the bracelet. The bracelet is just a form, so you can't really separate the form that it's from the material. Like those are not two separate things, because forms are just some things that we think about, right? They don't actually exist in reality. So
exactly. And so one minor thing I want to correct that you said in there, that we make the gold in the form of the bracelet. So I want to push back on the phrasing of that statement. We did not make the gold in the form of the bracelet, because the form is not something that we so the form does not really exist. The gold is not something that we made into the form in the bracelet. The bracelet is just a name that we give to gold in a particular shape or in a particular form. Or it could be a necklace. It can be a bracelet. It could be a ring. At the end of the day, none of these forms really exist, because as you acknowledged, you cannot take that form and say, I'm going to keep this form for myself and I'm going to let you have the gold. That is impossible, because that form does not exist. So the only thing that exists, the only reality in that metaphor is gold. That is the only reality in that metaphor. Can we agree on that?
Right. The reality is the gold. Right.
Right. So that's the same thing that I'm saying here. The reality is consciousness is the only reality, and everything that we think is real is only an appearance in consciousness. That's why I say what I say when it comes to God. That's what God is. It is not some separate thing that exists outside of us. It is immanent. It is existence itself. So if somebody to ask me if God exists, I would say no, God does not exist. Do you believe that God does not exist? I would say no. God is existence.
Okay, so you're more of a pantheist.
I'm not sure what you mean by pantheist.
Pantheist is basically what you just described. Existence in of itself, which is time, space, matter, the universe, etc., is actually God. So you believe more in Spinoza's God.
Yes, sort of on the line of Spinoza's God, but also I would say time is also not real either. Time is only consciousness is a reality. What we see, what we think of as time is something that's an aspect of the physical universe, and the physical universe is still an appearance. just like every other object that we think is real. It's an appearance in the reality of consciousness. And so let me ask you this here. Going back to your question, give you a good reason. I don't think anybody can give you a good reason, because of for somebody to give you a satisfactory reason, correct me if I'm wrong, they would have to give you some type of proof, right? That there is God. And that's not something that can be proven scientifically, because God or consciousness is not something that's physical. It is non-physical. And scientific proof is only based on the physical reality. So you cannot prove the existence of God from that standpoint. And conversely, you cannot disprove the existence of God from that standpoint either.
Yeah, you can't like disprove the existence of God, because you can't really prove a negative, right? But like if there are people who out there believe in God, then that means they must have some sort of sufficient reason. And if they have that reason, then I want to know what that reason is and how they got there, right? Because I don't see a good reason to believe it. Like people who have come up here said, like either the Bible or what's the other thing, the Bible or trees or whatever. Those aren't really good reasons for me, because you can say that the pink unicorn exists because or you can say the tooth fairy exists because we have teeth and we get tooth decay when people aren't brushing their teeth, right? So those are not really sufficient or good reasons in my worldview, in my opinion.
And I do agree with you on that standpoint. I don't think you can give anybody a reason to believe in God, because belief is based on personal experience. And if you haven't had any personal experiences that says, yes, to me, there is a God, then I can't take my personal experience and give it to you and say, well, based on my personal experience, you should therefore believe in God, because you have personal experiences that says I should not believe in God. Is that correct?
No, I never say someone should not believe in God. The reason I'll always, I mean,
I'm saying no, from you, just for you, for your personal belief, like for somebody to say for you to believe in God, your personal belief says that there is no God. Is that correct?
My personal experience doesn't necessarily say that there is no God. Is that there's no actual evidence that there is one, so I don't believe in one.
I see. Yeah, and that goes back to what I'm saying. I don't think there can be any evidence from the evidence as we understand evidence to be. I don't think there's any way to provide this and not physical. That's never going to happen.
So question, right? If you can't, so question, if you cannot prove it by any physical metrics, then what is the reason to believe it?
So now that goes to a different question.
At least you should be agnostic at this point.
Hey, Sadir, give us a second, all right?
Yeah. So the question is, I mean, okay, I forgot her question that quick. So can you say it again?
If there's no way to show it,
oh, so if there's no way to show it, why believe it? So that goes back to what I'm saying. Belief is personal, and I can't say that you should believe. Now, here's what I will say: I don't believe it. I feel like it is nothing. It's the best explanation. There's nothing else is true, because think about it. When it comes to God, God is what we use to explain existence, and there's only two explanations.
Not how I explain existence.
How do you explain existence?
I'm like, if you talk about human existence, I came from a woman, and so did you. So
well, yeah,
okay, and where did that woman come from?
A woman prior to her. Humankind came about through evolution.
Okay, right. So basically, you follow the materialistic standpoint that this is a material world, and we sort of evolved from some single-cell organisms up into these complex organisms that we are today. Correct?
That's the evidence that we have.
Okay. So here's a problem with that theory. All right. So do you have within you a consciousness, awareness that you exist?
Yes.
So this first person awareness, this sense of I am, where does it come from?
It evolved.
From where? Like where? From where?
From our environment. It had to evolve from our environment, same way our eyes did. Our entire psychology evolved from our entire psychology and everything in our consciousness evolved from our environment. Well, natural selection as well, of course, but yeah, they evolved.
Okay. Well, that's okay, but that doesn't really answer. Okay, let me.
It does. You said where it came from. It evolved in us.
How? So how does? Okay, let me say it to you this way.
Mm-hmm.
How does something that is non-physical, like the sense of I am, this consciousness that we have, how was it produced by a physical material existent or thing like the brain? Like
you'll have to.
We say consciousness or awareness exists in the brain or the mind. So how did that consciousness, that non-physical consciousness, gets produced by the brain, and where in the brain does it exist?
It came from our consciousness, essentially. You talking about where the consciousness comes from?
Yes, consciousness. That
consciousness
that
is
you have that says I am.
Consciousness is likely an emergent property. You know about emergence, right? Like what an emergent property is.
I know what a property is. I'm not sure what you mean by emergent property.
An emergent property is like when you take several different elements to make something new, like fire. Like fire is not something that comes from anywhere, right? You need like a fuel source, you need heat, you need oxygen, etc., and then you have fire. It has to be multiple things together in order for fire to happen. It's the same thing with consciousness. Consciousness is most likely the same thing. It's probably like chemicals, neurons, probably even some other physical processes that we can't understand yet. And that what makes our consciousness. All the evidence that we have so far is that consciousness is emergence. It's something that happens in the brain. We're not entirely sure how or why, but as far as we see, without the brain, there's no consciousness. So it does come from something physical.
Okay. The two things I want to address. So two things I want to address that you said there. So number one, you use fire. Fire is physical. Now, yes, it's an emerging property, but it's a physical thing that's produced by physical processes. So it's not like these physical processes are producing something not physical. So fire is a physical process. So consciousness is not physical. So you're saying there's these chemical reactions or processes that are happening in the physical brain that somehow, we don't know how, but somehow it's producing this non-physical awareness that exists in us. Okay. And you say that, and also it cannot exist without the brain.
Right. Okay, we've never seen consciousness without a brain.
Okay. Well, you can't see consciousness without a brain because consciousness is not something that you can see.
Well, when I say see, I mean like detect. We're never able to detect the consciousness without a brain.
And again, that goes back to detect. We cannot detect because we have physical tools for detection. We can't detect something non-physical with things that are physical. We can detect.
So we can detect thoughts and stuff like that. Like thoughts aren't physical. We can detect it.
Well, we can detect mental activity. We can detect mental activity, or that's happening in the brain through like physical synapses that are firing between neurons. Those are physical processes. We can detect that, but still, that still doesn't say consciousness. So, here's what I want to say to you. Consciousness the consciousness cannot exist without the brain. Have you heard of near-death experiences?
Yes.
Okay. So so from people who may be listening have not heard of that, near-death experience, people who are completely unconscious. They can't hear, they can't see, they can't smell.
Well, that's comatose.
No, you can be under anesthesia. So you're completely, the brain is completely shut down. So there's no awareness as to the outside environment from a physical standpoint.
Right.
They may be going through surgery. People have emerged from this unconscious state and said that I was aware of what was going on. Because when I was asleep on the table having my surgical procedure,
they felt everything.
The nurse, she dropped the pen. That pen rolled over to the floor next to the window, and then she walked over and picked it up.
Right, correct.
And then when they woke up, that was verified.
Yeah, correct.
And they said I was aware of this. I was outside of my body. I didn't see it. I didn't hear it. So there is no way that my brain detected that through the physical means that it interacts with the physical world, through sight, through smell, touch, any of those things. But you are aware of that somehow. Where is that awareness? How is that awareness operating and able to detect what was going on in that room without the use of physical means of knowing?
Right. There's these type of stories happen all the time. Like we hear about them, but none of them ever get verified. But the second thing that I would say is that we've actually tried to experiment on astral projection and stuff like that, and none of that has ever been verified either. So like these stories always come up. They're always like rumors around in the medical industry and whatever like that. But when you track them down, the story is either completely fabricated or was never verified.
Well, actually, that's not true. There's been doctors who verified this. Doctors who have verified these stories, but they say we don't have no explanation for this.
Like
so there have been doctors who go ahead.
Doctors who said that someone astral projected.
No, someone who they talked about these experiences with these out of body people, like they were in surgery and they were able to come back after they wake up. They report what happened in the operating room. These have been verified by the nurses and the doctors who were present there. That yes, this person was unconscious, and what they reported while they were unconscious actually happened.
Right.
That's been verified.
So those cases are also people who like where the anesthesia doesn't work all the way. You see what I'm saying? And that's how they were aware of everything. That happens a lot, as a matter of fact, which is kind of scary because we're actually not 100% sure how anesthesia works. But there are people, who are said to be put under anesthesia, but the anesthesia actually didn't knock them out all the way, and they felt everything and they saw everything. That happens.
Okay, that does happen too, but there's people who have been verifiably unconscious and they have reported these things. But let's also want to use a scientific approach to this that can kind of explain some things that are considered paranormal. So we've heard of telepathy, where people can say they can read minds or they can communicate telepathically.
Never been verified.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's never been verified.
All right. Okay, so you are familiar with the concept of quantum entanglement?
Yes. A little bit.
Okay. So, a little, yeah. So as for those who, I'm no physicist, so I may get this, I may not get it completely right, but in a nutshell, basically quantum entanglement means that you have two particles. They can be completely separate. They can be light years apart. And these particles are entangled in a way that when the state of one particle changes, the other particle changes as well. And so basically it's saying that this non-local phenomena exists where there's no physical contact between these two particles. They're completely separate. But this quantum entanglement, and you can sort of look at this and say that, all right, from a quantum standpoint, it makes sense how if these particles are somehow part of reality and they're able to communicate without physical contact, then it can make sense how a brain, this also may consist of particles on a quantum level, can also produce these means of communication where two people are apart and they're not speaking through traditional means of communication, like through voice, like we are doing now.
Correct. That's possible.
So it's not, and also quantum physics also started to say that, you know what we have come to believe about the world being completely material,
right?
Is
but
completely not true.
Rich, what does this have to do with whether or not a God exists?
Because what I'm saying is that we have believed that the material world is all there is to reality, and that materialism is false because because number one, it doesn't address the hard problem of consciousness, as it's called, that I've talked about. How you have this non-physical first-person awareness, subjective awareness, that somehow, some way, mysteriously produced by the brain and exists somewhere in the brain that we cannot identify. So there you have this hard problem of consciousness. So we're saying that this material world exists, and somehow this consciousness that we have was produced by the material brain. And then also it does explain the fundamental existence of reality, if there's reality itself. So if you say that the universe was produced by the Big Bang, what existed before the Big Bang?
Right. We don't know what existed before the Big Bang. A lot of these questions are, we don't actually know, but that's not a problem. That doesn't show that a God exists just because we don't have the answer to it.
No, it doesn't show that a God exists. You're right. But what it does say that we are wrong about the material, that about materialism, that the world is just purely material and there's nothing else to it.
Not
I think
necessarily,
what makes more
because
sense.
not necessarily, not necessarily because we have no evidence that there's anything else other than the material. Even what you were talking about with quantum entanglement and things not being locally real, what that just means is that particles don't get properties until we actually interact with those particles, as far as we see, right? Like as far as what we can, the experience that we do, the moment we interact with the particle, that's when it gets its properties, right? Before that, it doesn't. We can't see what properties it has before we interact with it. That doesn't mean that, the moment you leave another room, like the moment you leave a room, the room that you're just in disappears because the world's not locally real. It doesn't mean that. It just means on a quantum level, we don't know what the properties of a particles are. So that's what locally real or locally not real means. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't mean anything more than that. These are things on a very small elemental level. You know what I mean? Like elementary particles, like neutrinos, like quarks, the floor of reality, basically. Like you can't get smaller than a neutrino and a quark and an electron. Like they have no mass. You know what I'm saying? You can't get smaller than that. So those properties, those particles don't have a property until we interact with the particle, right? And to interact with the particle, you got to do something physical to it. You see what I'm saying? So that's what locally real means. It doesn't mean that, outside, because I'm not outside right now, outside disappears because it's not locally real. It doesn't mean that.
Yeah, I get that, and that's not what I'm trying to get at, and I agree with that. But what I'm saying is that the idea that two things cannot possibly interact with each other because in order for us to, like I use the whole example of telepathy, like okay, the idea that I can have a thought in my head and we can communicate through those means, like without speaking vocally, that's just impossible on a physical level or any type of level that's impossible.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying is that, well, there's examples in physics where that explains how this can be done, even from more of a scientific standpoint, or it can sort of make sense.
Wait, how
it's like so smooth.
Like there's like an immaterial world behind the material world or something like that?
Well, yeah, thoughts are immaterial. So yes, there's definitely an immaterial world because thoughts are immaterial.
Yeah,
Consciousness is immaterial.
But we can detect both of those things though. Like I said, both of these are always tied to a physical brain, right? Like we cannot detect a thought without a physical brain being present. Like there's no way to do that. So if we were to say that these things are so without a physical brain, we can still detect thoughts?
Well, we can detect awareness
without a physical brain.
Awareness. Yes.
How?
Look within. You are aware. You are aware yourself.
All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and move on because I'm not gonna. we already way over. All right. So Cider is you next, and then Michael over on my YouTube queue. You're gonna be right after Cider. Okay. So
question, Volcy.
Go ahead.
Can mods hear what's going on YouTube up here, or will I not be able to either?
I'm not sure as a matter of fact, because you were able to hear in the audience, right? When my
I was
other
able to
YouTubers
hear in the audience. I'm just curious if mods can hear on the stage. That's kind of what I'm curious about.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm gonna do that once I bring them up.
Find out.
Yeah, we're gonna find out. Once I bring them up, we'll find out. All right. Cider, I do appreciate your patience. You have been being patient. I do appreciate that. You said that you can give me a good reason to believe in a God. Are you over 18?
Yeah, I'm over 18. Yeah.
All right. Which God do you believe in, and what's a good reason for me to believe in that God?
I would say a transcendent God. So
you believe in a transcendent God? What does that mean?
It means beyond any representation and beyond space and time.
Okay, so everything that consists of reality takes up space and takes up time. So if you're saying that this God is outside of space and time, you're saying that they're outside of reality, which is another way of saying that they're not real. So which one is it?
Yeah, it's transcending existence and non-existence.
How do you know that's true?
the way I wanted to show you if God exists or not was an analogy. Take now a simple idea, the idea of perfection. You never have in your entire life have seen something that's perfect, but you can formulate an idea that is perfection. How is it possible?
Not really.
Okay, say me something's perfect.
Huh?
Say me something that is perfect.
I don't know anything perfect.
So that's it. How do you have the idea of perfection? Prove me that perfection exists.
We can't.
How?
But we're also not making the claim that perfection exists either.
Yeah, I can't show you perfection exists, and I'm not making a claim that it does.
Sorry?
I'm not making the claim that perfection exists, and I can't prove that it does, but I'm not making that claim either.
Yeah, but it is a concept you use every day to designate something.
Yeah, perfection just means
something.
I mean, the colloquial definition of perfection is just means without flaw, right? So, like, if I'm doing, like, for example, I work in insurance, right? So every time I take a claim, I need to make sure that I'm hitting all the marks, right? And if I hit all the marks and I get 100% on my audits to hit on my mark, then that means my audit is quote unquote perfect, right? Because I had no mistakes, I had no flaws. So that's what it means. That's what colloquially without flaw it would mean perfect. But we're talking about the philosophical, definition of perfect, like, perfect being or perfect circle or perfect, burrito. There's no such thing. I don't know how to prove that.
It's funny you said burrito. I just got done eating some earlier. I love me a good soft taco.
Yeah, true. But yeah, does that make sense, Cider?
So there's
an
idea that exists.
I take that back. Soft tacos are very perfect.
And you have never experienced in real life.
Yeah, I mean, there are different ways that we use perfect, right? It just means without flaw, right? So, I'm not sure if there's anything that could be without flaw. Probably like, a perfect circle or you doing a good job at work, a perfect job at work. Yeah, sure. That's what we can say perfection is, but philosophically, like a perfect being or a perfect planet, saying like, or perfect glasses, like it's, I don't know how to.
The only thing I could think about is a newborn baby.
Right, exactly.
Just take the idea of a perfect circle. We can't even.
Okay, Cider, how does this get us to God? How does this get us to God? That's what I want to ask.
It's just to prove that if it's something that can be experienced does not exist.
Wait, what?
It's just it is just to prove the point that it is not because something can't be experienced that had to take to the consequence that it doesn't exist.
Okay, so just because we can't experience it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. No, I agree. I can't experience, Proxima Centauri, but Proxima Centauri definitely exists, right? So I agree with you. Just because we can't experience it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. But this doesn't get us to a God still.
No, but to get to some more open-minded way to think. That's the way of beginning.
No, not really.
Oh, not really.
I mean, like you said, it makes us more open-minded. More open-minded to what? Like saying that because we can't experience it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It doesn't open my mind to anything. Like that's obvious.
No, because you pointed. It was a molecule, something like this, the polyoxidine, or I don't know what, that you have never experienced but exist.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and move on, guys. I'm sorry, I didn't know where he was going with that, y'all. But I'm gonna go ahead and add. I'm on my YouTube queue right now. We're adding Michael to the stage, And Medic Mommy, I do see you there, but Boss Man is gonna be my last person for tonight. As a matter of fact, I know you've been being patient. I might have to talk to two of you at the same time because I do got to get out of here. Michael, are you there in my YouTube queue?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can everyone on stage hear Michael?
I can hear.
Okay, you guys can hear. Okay. So everybody on stage can hear Michael, right?
Yes.
Okay, you can hear. And Boss Man, you can hear Michael?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Michael, you heard all of them, right?
Yep, I can hear everybody. Yep.
All right, cool. I'm not sure if y'all be able to communicate back and forth, but actually, yeah, you actually can communicate back and forth now. That's cool. All right, cool. All right, so Michael, you've been patient. I do appreciate you. Are you over 18, and can you give me a good reason to believe in a God?
I think we're crashing.
Wait, did you hear me?
You cut out for a second.
Okay, I said, are you over 18, and can you give me a good reason to believe in a God?
Yes, so I am over 18, and I guess I just wanted to start with, you said that you believe in evolution, right?
Sure.
Would you say that you believe in the Big Bang then?
Yeah, I think the Big Bang has sufficient evidence.
Okay, so what do you do about the fine-tuning problem?
There isn't
for
one.
those who don't know. Okay, so the fine-tuning problem essentially is that if there was
I'm saying that there isn't
higher
one.
mass.
Hold on, Michael. I'm saying that there isn't
finish?
one. No. When you said about the fine-tuning problem, I'm saying that there isn't one. There isn't a problem.
Okay, why isn't it a problem?
It's not a problem because, like, I know the fine-tuning says, like, if you tweak a little bit of the constants in our universe, like, particles can't stay together, right? But that's just for our universe. If you tweak some of those other constants, you actually can have a stable universe. It just won't be one that we could understand. The constants of our universe just happen to be for our universe. That doesn't mean that if another universe actually does exist, they won't have different constants.
Okay, so are you saying that you believe like in the multiverse theory then? Is that your solution?
I'm not sure if the multiverse actually exists or not. I'm not too keen on believing that. It's good for science fiction, sure, but multiverse, I would say maybe. I wouldn't lean towards saying that it definitely is a real thing. I would say is one on one of the maybe things, not even probably, just maybe.
Okay, that's an interesting response. I guess my other question, like my next question would be, how do you explain the Big Bang, like the idea that something came from nothing?
The Big Bang doesn't say that.
What does the Big Bang say then?
It was an expansion of space-time. It was basically everywhere. Like the universe expanded from a hot, dense state. At any time before the Big Bang is our physics doesn't really understand that yet. Even our concept of time doesn't work out when you get to the singularity. But that doesn't mean that it came from nothing or like it was nothing before that. It just could be like a physical process that we don't understand yet.
Okay, so if there's a physical process before the Big Bang that we don't understand that created the Big Bang, where did the physical process that created the Big Bang come from? Like,
That's
is
the
there
answer. I
just
don't know.
going to be another physical process behind it?
Probably. Don't know.
Because then it comes down to a matter of whether or not there was actually something that always existed. So you could either believe that like the Big Bang and whatever caused the Big Bang that always existed, or that there was a being outside of the universe that created it that always existed.
I think it's likely that time and matter probably always existed, just in a form that we don't understand.
Okay. Let me think. So I guess continuing on with evolution, we kind of talked about like the macro. Continuing on with like evolution, we kind of talked about like the macro, like universal view of it, of where the universe came from. But what about like biological evolution? So with that,
my bad. Go ahead.
Yeah, no problem. With biological evolution, how do you explain the fact that within the fossil record, we don't have any. There's no evidence of like multi-cell organisms that are like 2 cells or 3 cells. And we don't have any organisms today that are like 2 or 3 cells. We only have single cell organisms, and then we have complex organisms. Wouldn't you expect that if we evolved from multi-cell organisms, that you would see that within the fossil record and living today?
You have to talk to a biologist about that, or a paleontologist. Because your question is, we went from 1 cell to multi-cells, but we don't see 2 or 3 cells, right?
Yeah.
Well, when it comes to evolution is not a ladder, right? Like, you would like seeing 1 cell and then seeing multiple is actually something that you would expect. Like, you don't necessarily have to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then a million cells. It could go from 1 to a dozen, because that's just what is necessary for environmental pressure, right? Because evolution is not necessarily a ladder. It's not a linear thing. There are people in evolution, you can gain or you can lose, like whales, right? Whales had legs and then they lost the legs. You feel what I'm saying? And there's even, I'm not sure which creature this is, but there is I think it's elephants, where they started off in sea, then it came to land, then went to sea, then went to land. You know what I'm saying? So it can go back and forth. You can gain, you can lose. It all depends on what your environment requires.
Yeah, so that's a good explanation. But I guess the entire argument really comes down to, how do you prove either way? Because we're talking about history, right? So you can't really prove that evolution. You can't prove evolution existed, and because you can't. Okay, sorry. Let me correct that statement. You can't test that evolution existed in the past, right? Like, we're talking about like
fossil record,
the evolution of the universe, etc. We can't really test what happened back then, but you can't test what happened back then with God either.
Gotcha.
Sorry,
pause real quick. When you say the evolution of the universe, what do you mean?
Like, I'm talking about like the Big Bang, and then you have like the evolution.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, that's not evolution.
Like, evolution of the solar system, and then you have like biological evolution on Earth with organisms.
Right. But what I'm saying is that the solar system and all that's not evolution. There's only evolution on what happened to animals on Earth, the diversity of life on Earth. Everything else about solar system evolution, that was all made up by what's his name, Ken Hovind. That doesn't actually exist. That's not in the scientific field. But when it comes to like cosmology and all that good stuff, right? You can there are explanations for all that. You have to go talk to cosmologists. But as far as evolution goes, yeah, sure, we can prove a lot of that happened, like the fossil record, genetics, our morphology. Like for example, would you doubt that humans and the other apes are related, like chimpanzees, bonobos, orangutans, and gorillas?
I would doubt that they're related. Yeah.
Okay, you would doubt they're related. All right. Can I ask you a question? You have a hand, right?
I do.
All right. Hand has 5 fingers.
Mm-hmm.
You have a thumb.
Mm-hmm.
And it faces outward and does this little motion that I'm doing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it has a fingerprint on it.
Yes, it does.
There's only a few creatures on this planet that has all those 5 in combination. Everything I just listed, a thumb that faces outward with a fingerprint and moves around the way that I moved it around. There's only a handful of creatures that have all of that in common. You know who they are? Humans, chimpanzees, bonobos, orangutans, gorillas, and gibbons. We're the only ones. If we're not related, how do you explain that?
Okay, so could that be a matter of
bears don't have thumbs?
That's like saying being related to a parrot. A parrot can speak English. It's I don't know, man.
Parrots don't have thumbs.
It don't matter. They have thumbs. How can they speak?
They can speak because they have vocal cords.
But if you didn't know, you would guess that a monkey would speak before a parrot if you didn't have.
No, because monkeys don't have vocal cords.
Then how the hell we get vocal cords?
Because we evolved them. Evolution. We evolved them.
That's the point.
We had to we had to speak into the savannah, right? Because if we didn't speak to each other, then we will be missing a lot, right? I won't be able to warn you about creatures being out there. I won't be able to give you information. So we had to learn how to speak because we're out there in the savannah.
Right.
So back to the hand problem.
All right. So Brian, what you were saying?
Okay.
Go ahead, Brian. I mean, I said Brian. Michael, my bad. Michael, go ahead.
Yeah. So with the hand problem, like you said that your question was how are they not related if there's only 5 species that can do these things with our thumbs and have fingerprints and everything? That's your question?
Yeah, we're gorillas, chimpanzees, bonobos, orangutans, and gibbons. We're the only creatures that have this. The only 5. No one else has it. So if we're not related, how do you explain it?
Couldn't that be a matter of common design rather than common ancestry?
Common design?
Yeah. So the idea that God created designs of like different animals, whether that be chimpanzees, orangutans, and he also created humans.
And he just created them with the same exact way?
He created us with similar designs, but that we're not actually related, like in an evolutionary sense.
The problem with that is that we can, if we weren't related, we won't have the same genes either, but we do.
But couldn't that also just be common design?
You're just pushing the problem back a step. Usually, now that so our morphology could be common design, right? But we're not related. But our gene shows that we are related. Now you're saying that could be common design and not relation. Genes is the only way you show relation. Like for example, genes. for us to know that you're related to your father or your cousin. For a matter of fact, this is a better one. For us to know that you're related to your cousin, like your first cousin, right? We would probably test one of your grandparents on either your mother or your father's side, right? And you share a gene with them. So if you share a gene with your if you and your cousin share similar genes with this old man over here, that's how we know that old man is either your father, your grandfather, or your uncle, and you two are cousins. It's the same thing that we do with all the other apes. So that's how we know that they're related. Jesus is the only way. Jesus is the best way to show that you're related to someone else. And humans and all the other apes not only have the same morphology, the same skeletal structure, but have the same genes and even in the exact same place.
I can actually give a great example of evolution. Michael, have you ever seen a dog or a cat?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Okay. Who are their primates?
Sorry, pardon?
Do you know who cats and dogs primates are?
Like who they're related to?
No, I don't. No.
Yes. They're actually related to cats are actually related to lions and tigers and cheetahs. And dogs are related to wolves.
Wolves and coyotes.
Evolved. Coyotes, yeah. They evolved.
Absolutely. Yes, Cats, like they're all in the same family. Yeah, for sure.
Right. So cats. So my like a little kitten is related to like Tony the tiger. You see what I'm saying? Like they're all related. Yeah. They just have different and you can see that through their morphology and through their genes. Same thing with humans and apes.
So, all right, I want to separate off and address the two things separately. So with cats and dogs and coyotes, for example, you have dogs are related to coyotes. We can see that they're similar and whatnot, but you would expect that over time you would get evolution in some sense, like microevolution, changes, like variations within genes within a specific species over time, over say 6,000 years or however long the world has existed. And that would make sense why you would see different species, like subspecies of cat or whatever. That's different from macroevolution, where you have like apes and being related to humans, and that there is more of a difference between apes and humans. And so I'll address that problem. So you said that we have similar genes and we have similar things with our hands going on. Wouldn't you expect that if we have similar physiology, we would have similar genetics to back it up? And that
we do.
Even with common design, you would have similar genetics to back up your similar physiology. Wouldn't that
so
be
we're
expected?
related? So even in your hypothesis of common design, we would be related.
In some
why
sense,
aren't we
yeah,
seeing
but not that
evolution
we.
today?
We are seeing evolution today.
So not in the evolutionary sense.
Do y'all?
Like the same way.
Everybody, pause real quick. Pause real quick. I just want to make this clear. Y'all understand that evolution is not a ladder, right? It's not literally your line. There's no goal for evolution. Like we still see evolution today, even with the thing that we're talking about with coyotes. There are different species of coyote. There are different species of wolf. Like the gray wolf is not the only one. There's the timber wolf. There's the gray wolf is the most popular one, but there's also the timber wolf, the African wolf, the Asian wolf. There are different species of wolf. You see what I'm saying? So that happens when it comes to humans and apes. Humans are apes because we have literally the same exact morphology. Humans are apes.
Hey, host, I can say this real quick. I believe in God.
Okay.
But I'm not gonna sit up here and and go back and forth about evolution because evolution is happening. Like that's common sense. Whether you believe in God or not, evolution is a thing. I would say I'm probably a believer of both sides, but more the story is to say there's slight proof of the Bible. There's slight proof of just being a believer in general, where it gets you in life. But yes, it's true. We are genetic to some animals. Animals are genetic to certain animals. That's proof. Like we figured that out. So I can't sit up here and go back and forth and say, hey, that's not evolution. It's not real. The whole thing is made. No, it's proof. It's there. My point is to say the Bible for me is two things. If I wasn't a believer, I would say maybe I'll be a believer just to cover my ass in case I'm wrong. Secondly, I feel like it does bring the world to be a better place. Do you need the Bible to be a better place? No, you don't. But third, I just feel like sometimes in the Bible itself, some of that shit to me was made up. No disrespect to anybody, was made up, and some of it could possibly be true. Some of it could have went line by line, carried by horses, walking down the street. We forgot who name was who, Jehovah, Yasir, whoever you believe in. It all got mixed up, and then humans did what they did best and wrote a story in the book. But what I will say, there's proof right now. Like you can look this up. It's called Durpan, Turkey. They found the world's biggest wooden object, which is they're believing it is a ship.
No.
Noah.
No.
We're thinking it's the Noah.
He's bringing up the thing from a few years ago where they believe it's no. They believe
but in the Bible,
Noah's Ark.
they asked Noah to travel north. If you read the Bible, they asked Noah to travel north.
Brother, no.
It's there. That's what scientists are calling it.
Scientists are not calling it that. They've researched this, and this has been debunked multiple times. That is not Noah's Ark.
Well, they're saying it's ancient wood. It's
it is not
ancient wood they ever found.
It is not.
You got the computer in front. You Google it. Show everybody, man.
All right, cool.
Can I just say two things and then I'll get out of the chat?
Sure.
Hi. Hi. So, there's two aspects to the documentation that I feel like, validates the Bible. The first one being, there's never been a more documented person during the time that he was alive and then died by not just Jews who didn't want him to succeed or whatever, but also through his followers, through Rome, through different historians at that time. So that's part of it. But then the other part is people through trying to disprove the resurrection, because if you disprove the resurrection, you disprove the whole thing. An atheist actually tried to disprove the resurrection, and through multiple different experts, who many of them were agnostic at best, if not atheist themselves, actually had to confirm that Jesus was a real person, that he was well documented at that time, that through investigation of actually the American Journal of Medicine did a whole article on the death of Jesus. And, because the thought was, well, somebody took him off the cross and he was still alive. Through investigating multiple different accounts of the crucifixion, was able to, without a doubt, say that he did die on the cross.
Okay, cool. Before you go on,
You got to
do
stay
you?
on the live. TikTok, friend language. TikTok is weird.
Yeah, not a problem. All right. I forgot
sorry.
who. Not a problem. So
Girl,
so
TikTok
boss.
is weird.
Yeah, I know TikTok is weird. Boss man,
It is
do
very
you
weird.
do you see what I have on the screen?
Yeah. So
Yeah, there is no definitive evidence that Noah's Ark has been found there or anywhere else. This is just a pretty rock formation. That's all it is. It's not true. They did
the
not
thing
find
is
Noah's
this,
Ark, bro.
But they have confirmed that the samples are ancient wood.
No,
that's
they
proof.
did not, bro.
No, man. Google,
They did
Google
not.
that right now. What was the mountain that found was considered ancient wood?
This is rock, bro. This is all this does. Here's more detailed
Yes, but
breakdown.
you take samples from
Look,
rock
you
and you
see,
can
it's a
Hold on,
boat shaped
hold on.
formation that has
Boss
link.
man, if he has it up on the screen,
I have it right here up on the screen.
But go look what the samples found.
Can you make it bolder, Volcy?
Hold on, here it is.
Is it possible?
Here it is. Here it is.
Okay.
Some researchers have found what they
bolder.
some researchers have found what they believe are signs of ancient wood and evidence of human activity in the era. However, skeptics, including geologists, argue that the formation is a natural geologic phenomenon, likely caused by mud flows and erosion.
Right.
No
So
concrete
even-
evidence. Despite ongoing research and claims, there is no conclusive evidence to prove that Duraper site contains the remains of Noah's Ark. There is just
And I
no
can
evidence of
use
this
that.
being the case, bro.
But there's no evidence to say even what it is. We can call it a rock.
It's a rock. That's what it is, man. It's a rock. That's what it is, bro. It's a big ass pretty rock. That's what it is. A big ass pretty rock. They didn't find wood there, guys. They did not find wood there. It's a big ass pretty rock. I understand that this could be like something very emotional and to prove that this thing exists. No, but I understand that, you know, the connection to want to believe that this is real, but it's just not. They did not find Noah's Ark. This is a big ass rock. That's all it is.
All right. So
Right.
granted, let's say it is just a big rock. Okay. That's one example of, oh, okay, it might have been evidence for the Bible. I did another example would be Mount Sinai, which is I don't know if you know what that is, a famous mountain in the Bible where God was said to have given Moses the 10 Commandments. Can you hear me? Sorry, things froze for a second.
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah. So where God was said to have given Moses the 10 Commandments, that mountain is actually known today as the mountain of Moses.
Hear you as well.
Sorry, did I cut out for a second there?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, so the Mount Sinai is actually known in Arabic today as
I'm back. I'm back. I'm gonna get back to you, Medic. Yeah, Michael, go ahead. I'm just saying, I was talking to Medic Mommy. I'm gonna get back to what you said, Medic Mommy, in a second. But go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, so Mount Sinai, for example, yeah, which was in the Bible. It's a very documented, like it's a famous mountain where God was supposed to have given Moses the 10 Commandments, is now known today as Jebel Musa, which means the mountain of Moses. And if you actually go there, you can see inscriptions regarding the golden calf, which was a story in and around, like in Exodus, that talked about Moses getting the 10 Commandments. You can also see a rock that was split straight up and down, top to bottom. It looked like it was hydro cut, which would match back up to Moses striking the rock with his staff. You can see marks on rocks everywhere around the mountain where there are little footprints. And in the text of the Bible, it talks about that the Israelites were to mark the places where their feet were, and that God was to give them that land. This is just one archaeological example.
All right. Well, I would say this, right? Gotcha. I would say this, right? Number one, the Bible does mention real places, right? Because I've always said I view the Bible more as historical fiction. It does mention real places, real events, and sometimes even real people. That doesn't mean the supernatural claims around it are real, right? That's the first thing. But the second thing that I would say is that the inscriptions that we're seeing, people have been active around Mount Sinai for centuries, right? So it doesn't necessarily mean that these are the inscriptions from the Bible. And the third thing is like that rock formation that you're talking about. I have heard about that, and there are natural explanations for how that rock formation got there. It's not necessarily Moses. Like what I'm saying is that all these things do have natural explanations, and I'm kind of questioning or asking guys, like, have y'all actually looked into these natural or other explanations to see if it isn't necessarily the Bible, or can it be another explanation that doesn't come from the Bible at all?
So I would actually say I'm sure there absolutely is natural explanations for many of those things, and you could argue that humans came by afterwards and made these various markings and whatnot on Mount Sinai. I think that's a completely valid argument. But it gets to a certain point. How many coincidences are you going to allow before you accept that it's no longer a coincidence?
Until we actually have definitive evidence that what the Bible is saying, and we don't have that.
So what would be definitive evidence in your mind?
Well, you have to give me an example. Like
I can give an example. Sure. Michael, I'm like, I want you to, would you know what good evidence would be? Evidence, I want God to be, I want evidence to be revealed like God gave to the men in the Bible. For example, the story of Moses, when he wanted Moses to prove that to Pharaoh that God was real, I'm like, he gave him some of the power of God. He threw his staff and it turned into a snake. I'm like, if you come onto camera and do something like that, maybe I'm like, I'll entertain the idea.
Can I respond to that?
Yeah, sure. Because no problem, boss man. You can go ahead and go because I gotta leave real quick too. Yeah, I gotta leave in about 15 minutes. My wife is gonna be so mad at me.
Mommy in like a couple seconds.
Go ahead, Matt. I'm gonna say something for you.
Go ahead, Medic.
So, I mean, one, I would just encourage again for you guys to kind of look into that American Journal of Medicine article, as well as look into the actual validated historians that actually chronicled the life of Jesus, and they didn't even believe in him. The other point I would make is that we actually found a tablet that was done by Pontius Pilate, who was the one that crucified Jesus, providing a physical description of Jesus Christ of Nazareth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wanted to.
The other point for KK really quick is just, if you are a believer in the Bible, and I guess maybe if you're not, he makes very clear when he went to the cross, he made it very clear that there would be no more signs and wonders. Mm-hmm. At this point, after he died on the cross, I think the grand design was that
TikTok is really weird. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. But
TikTok is so weird. Like any little language, like
they'll restrict you. It's super weird.
Sorry.
Yeah. So it will literally get Volcy banned.
Yeah, they're so super weird with it. No, all good. Keep going.
I've never done this before, but
good. It's not your fault. TikTok is just weird like that. I promise you.
So, my point was that, having said that there would be no more signs and wonders, it's because after that junction, that kind of intersection point, that the point of faith and kind of the narrative of the Bible is that after that point, it was all by faith. Like it, he lived out, his purpose. He, suffered the way, and it's been documented. I mean, they actually the Romans documented the crucifixion of Jesus. By name.
Right, I got you. Okay, so I did want to get back to that, right?
I want to say this, Volcy, just could you give because she had named that there was a
Pontius Pilate
document, and what did you say? the American Library of Medicine. Is that what you said? It was.
I believe it was the American Journal of Medicine.
American Journal of Medicine. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Here's the thing.
American Medical Journal. It may have been the.
I got you. I could bring that up. Like, here's the thing, right? I'm one of those people where I don't doubt that Jesus was a real guy, right? I have no problem with Jesus being a real guy. The question is over his supernatural claims, essentially, right? Like,
he was really the Son of God.
Yeah, exactly. So I have no problem with Jesus, living, preaching, being sacrificed by the Romans, because like he was a rebel rouser, right? Like he was against the Roman Empire, and they were not going to have that. They were always going to execute him, always going to take him out. So I have no problem with that being the case. But him walking on water.
The Jews that. It was actually the Jews that pushed for his crucifixion ahead of a holy holiday.
Right, exactly.
He was Jewish, yes.
Yeah, Jesus was Jewish, but the reason why the Pharisees wanted him executed is because like they thought that he was a blasphemer, et cetera, et cetera. Like Justin could give you more examples of that. Right?
I totally agree with that.
Right. So when it comes to that, right, like I have no problem with Jesus actually living and being sacrificed. I'm being punished and put on the cross and unalive. That's not an issue for me. The things that I do doubt is that number one, that he did all these miracles, had powers, died, raised from the dead, and then floated up into the sky. You see what I'm saying? These things are things that have absolutely no evidence.
I totally understand that, because that's hard for me to wrap my brain around too. But the one point that I would make is that there is a Jewish historian, which, like you guys just said, it was the Jewish people. It was his people that wanted him unalived for what they called a blasphemer, which was because he was claiming the prophecy that Moses made regarding, the coming savior of the Jewish people. And the Jewish people thought that he was going to be some warrior that was going to save them from Rome. And in fact, what really upset them is that he was not.
Mind if I ask a question before I leave real quick? It's just a small question. It's nothing basic.
Yeah.
The first one was a statement. Personally, I just don't feel how life, Earth, the sun was all created by itself, atoms, blah blah. Cool. But my second thing is the question: if this is for the for the guys that don't believe, and I'm one of them. Don't get me wrong. I believe. I question my own beliefs as well. Most people do. So I'm not attacking you guys. My question is, if you was wrong about your statement, if you was wrong the way you went about life, just an honest question, would you regret?
No.
Absolutely not.
That's the point. That's the point I don't get right there. That's just the only point I don't get. Like I don't understand how that you was wrong and it was right. And then you just like, okay, I'm gonna just pick another one. I just feel like.
I mean, the thing is,
I think because they don't.
As a human being, I just feel
don't
like
believe
you
it.
Say, hey, I get it. You cannot believe it, but at the same time, I feel like at the end of the day, if you're wrong, you're wrong. And you'll say, you know what? Shit, I should have been. You know what I mean?
Right. But boss man, here's what I say. Like, we're wrong all the time, right? Like, I could be wrong tomorrow about something that I believe, right?
Like me, I could
but
be wrong.
But just because I'm wrong doesn't mean I have to be filled with regret. Like, I live my life as well as I can. Like, I tell my mom and my dad I love them every day. Like, I call my sisters as much as I can. I take care of my family. I take care of my wife. You feel what I'm saying? So, and I'm make sure that I'm kind to everybody, that as kind as I can be to everyone. I even joined an activist organization called Black Men Build for us to solve like homelessness around the Orlando area. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to have a literacy program. I'm even planning a back to school drive to help. Yeah, I'm even planning a back to school drive for the kids in the projects up here in Orlando. You see what I'm saying? So like these are all things. Yeah, these are all things that I believe in and that I do. Right? It's just that I don't involve a God in any of that. So if I'm living my life as well as I can, even if God does exist, what do I have to regret?
Yeah.
Also, I want to say this, because I have been asked that before. That's not the other, and I could tell you this: the way Christians behave and act, and the things I have seen in that book. Let me tell you something. I would much rather. I'm like, spending eternity with that deity for all eternity and all these evil, wicked, disgusting Christians, I take hell for $200. Absolutely. There's absolutely nothing appealing to me about spending the rest of eternity with Christians. Nothing.
Okay, can I just make like a personal response on that?
Apology, brother. Thank you.
Not a problem, boss. I appreciate you.
Mediocre. I'm sorry. What? Okay.
Medic.
So
medic. I was like, I did not make it mediocre. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
I'm also gonna end the live soon, guys. So we're this gonna be like the last 5 minutes before I wrap it up.
So I hope your interaction with me has been more positive than what you've had.
Definitely.
And the one thing that I would kind of caution you on, or not really caution you on, but that's the only way I can think to say it is, don't equate human beings to the entire faith. And I say that for any faith. I don't think it's fair to apply, kind of these bad actors who use, being a Christian as a blanket excuse for just being a crap human being and not demonstrating the values that faith has. But KK, the other thing that
I want to make it clear. I'm not just saying that for the behavior. I do think it's the religion is weaponized and made and can be very oppressive and is very oppressive. But that's not the only reason I'm saying that. I'm saying the things that are in the Bible itself, I find disgusting. Specifically, how it talks about women. I absolutely find that biblical misogyny disgusting.
So, I think my question to you would be, what part of the Bible are you referring to, the Old Testament or the New Testament? Because if I lived my life by the Old Testament, which is why I'm not Jewish, I would be suppressed too.
I will say, typically you have to go from the Old Testament to get to the New Testament. So So let me be clear. The things I am talking about are in the Old Testament. But I cannot ignore
But that's what Jesus was standing up against. That's why he fulfilled the prophecy, so that we didn't have to make sacrifices or offerings, so that we could have penance, or so that, women were treated right, or so that there wasn't multiple wives, or so that we have the ability, if I live my life by the Old Testament, which of course it's important to understand the Old Testament is necessary because the prophecies that are written in the Old Testament bear fruit in the New Testament and offer an explanation as to why that was necessary.
The Old Testament, like the Bible itself, Christianity in general is rooted in the Jewish Torah. So you don't.
Wasn't their Messiah because he didn't.
Well, yes, I don't believe he was their Messiah, but I'm saying the religion is rooted in it, not necessarily saying that they believe the same things. I'm saying the root, the foundation of Christianity is the Jewish Torah. That is what I'm saying.
I don't think you can have one without the other. I think it offers a complete picture of why the New Testament was necessary because of the reasons that you stated. But there are, to kind of touch back to like the proof that Jesus was resurrected, there is a Jewish historian at that time that documented the crucifixion and the disappearance of the tomb, the confirmation of the Roman guards of that event.
Who was that historian?
Can I have the name of the historian?
It starts with a T. If you look it up, he should come up.
Tacitus?
So can you Google
Tacitus,
Jewish?
yes.
Tacitus.
Okay.
Tacitus lived about 100 years after Jesus.
Then it wasn't that one, but it was something that started. There was a name that started with a T.
Well, there's
I just assumed because it's that name starts with a T.
There's Tacitus and
I don't.
Yeah, I got you. There's Tacitus and Josephus. I know Josephus lived about 50 years after Jesus. Tacitus lived about 100. But yeah, they did write like these things, right? Like even if there was like a contemporary time of Jesus, like I don't doubt that they probably would have written something like that. But there were lots of that going around on the time, right? Like you ever heard of like the resurrection of Emperor Nero, the Roman Emperor Nero?
I actually haven't heard about that, but I have heard.
It's funny. It's very. It's actually very. I call it historical fiction. Like it's. I'm like I think it's fun to read about. But
the Emperor Nero, right? When he unalive, there were people like he had cults of personality around him, right? Because he was one of those dictators that just have those. So when he unalived and people didn't want to believe it, there were like doppelgangers around. Like, believe it or not, everyone has someone out there that looks kind of like them. Yeah.
That created kind of this scheme to basically construct a resurrection. No, I understand what you're saying.
But I also ask this, and this is no shade. I'm like, is it possible that they could have been, engaging in some medicine?
some witch doctory, voodoo.
Yeah, so some shrooms.
I'm talking about a very specific plant that I'm not going to say on here.
Some fungus. Yeah, I mean, like but hey, guys, I do got to get out of here. Hey, James, you came way too late.
I'm bringing that up because the Native Americans used to do that, and they believed all types of things.
Okay, do you want to start a live and you and I can talk? I don't really know.
I don't have live access on this account yet.
I don't even know.
Once I do, I'm more than willing to go live with you. That's no problem.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I don't even know how you get.
I think you have to have a certain level of followers.
Yeah, I think TikTok dropped it to 100.
I think it's no more than 100 followers, and then the problem I'm having is I can't verify my age because I look so young, and then when I put my ID into
they don't believe it.
Evidence for they don't believe they do not believe I'm a grown woman, Volcy. They literally think I'm literally a minor. I promise you. It does not believe I'm grown.
It's because black don't crack. You know what I mean? They said I was 18 before.
TikTok does not believe I'm grown.
Exactly.
I wonder if I have that ability to start a live because I have more than 100 followers. I don't know what else you have to do.
I'm like you have to look into your thing, see if you have live access.
I think that is how.
Where do I? How do I do that without getting out of this page?
No. I'm like after you leave the live, you go to I'm like when you go to look at your notifications. Typically, if you have live access, I'm like the same place you would go to look to see if you've gotten gifts from people.
Yeah, you have to look in. When you go, you know how it is when you upload a video, right? That little plus sign. Oh, go ahead and tap on that. And if you scroll to the left, you're gonna see if you have the live access. 45, 47. I got to get out of here, man. I gotta go.
Okay. Yeah.
KK,
I typically just get the notification when I have live access.
Maybe you can find me if I go live. I'll go live for a minute if I can.
That's a possibility. I'm typically on the other atheist lives too. I'm like Volcy. I made some new atheist homies. So I'm definitely going to be inviting you to some lives.
Yeah, definitely invite me. All right, guys. I do these every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. This is my religion week.
I'm like a couple of new Black atheists. Should I invite them to our Discord?
Definitely. Hell yeah. Yeah. Invite them to the Discord.
I'm like, okay. I have to figure out how to do that. I'm like, well, I have to get my tablet fixed first because I can't even access this.
I'm gonna head out, guys. I'll see about the live and KK if you want to join or whoever. Cool. If not, I'll leave it up for a minute and then I'll head out.
Yeah, I'm like, if I see it, I'll join. That's no problem.
All right.
Not a problem. I appreciate you being here, Medic Mommy.
Have a good night. Give wifey all my lovey.
No, she gonna push me off tonight because it's boy. I've been on here for close to 3 hours, boy. She might be a little bit upset.
okay, she's gonna be sick and tired of it.
Yeah, she gonna be tired of this. She gonna be like, I'm leaving you because see, I'm tired of you going live all the time.
I'm like, no, don't leave him. Short, my favorite short man because he doesn't have short man syndrome.
Yeah, exactly.
I still can't believe you're 5'5", by the way.
Yeah, I'm a small guy. I'm a really small guy.
Because I'm 5'10". I'm a very tall girly. So like anytime I see a short man, I'm like you lucky bitch. Like I'm supposed to be the small one. Like how am I 5'10" I'm supposed to be the short one. Like,
hey, but she's taller than me though. Like my wife is taller than me. She's 5'7", 5'6", 5'7", I think. So, well, yeah, she's taller than me.
I come from a family of tall women too. Like the women in my family are 5'7" up to 5'10", my height. So
yeah, and her nieces,
I have a cousin who's 5'11".
Yeah, my wife's nieces, they're like 5'11", volleyball model type women, and they don't play volleyball at all. I'm like, y'all don't play volleyball, y'all don't model, and they like 5'11", 6'1".
Model.
Yeah, see, go ahead and get back to that. But all right, let me go ahead and get out of here, man. This is my religion week.
High school.
Gotcha. But I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here, Kay. I do appreciate you being up here. All right.
Of course.
All right. See ya.
Now I got live access on this.
Ooh, sorry about that, Kay. I didn't mean to drop you while you were talking. My bad. Sorry about that, Kay. My bad. Sorry about that. All right, guys. Everyone on the lives from all the YouTubes and the Facebook, I really, really appreciate y'all. I really, really appreciate y'all. Come back on Thursday. I do these every Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. My bad, Kay. I dropped you right in the middle of you talking. My bad. But I do these every Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. This is my religion week. Next week I'm back to politics, so come back for that time. It's gonna be a really good time because these are the political positions that I'll be arguing. And yeah, these make people very, very angry for some reason. They make people very, very mad. But Thursday is Kay's birthday. So definitely. All right, guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Y'all have a good night. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Please support me. Please think about subscribing. After you subscribe, watch all my videos. Consider subscribing to my TikTok. It's only $2.99 a month. I do have a goal, and once I do that, then I'll be happy to have super chats and super things. And I appreciate you all. You all have a good night. Love you all. Peace.